couldn't be one without the other. From 1937 to 1999, the Cotton Bowl celebrated college football's greatest stars.
Saturday in Dallas, Texas, where a sellout crowd is ready for the renewal of one of the great rivalries in college football, the Arkansas Razorbacks out of the SEC and the Texas Longhorns from the Big 12. It's the 2000 Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl. And a pleasant good morning to you and a Happy New Year. Alongside Tim Green and Dave Lapham, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to college football here on Fox. These are two programs on the rise, fellas, under head coaches Houston Nutt of Arkansas and Mac Brown of Texas. Unfortunately, Tim, for the Longhorns, they're without two of their top players. They violated team policy. Their wide receiver, Kwame Cavill. And on defense, their leading sack man, Aaron Humphrey. What's that do to them?
Well, I want to see what it does to them emotionally. I think coming into this game, Arkansas had the emotional edge. They looked a little sharper in practice this week. Sometimes when you lose a couple of your better players, it raises the level. It really excites the rest of the team. So I'm interested to see what that does to Texas. Now, strategically, losing Aaron Humphrey is exactly what the Arkansas offense wants, because they want to take their quarterback, Clint Sterner, and they want to roll him out. They want to get him outside the pocket, and they want to use the quick passing game, and they also want to use the deep passing game. Their point of attack is going to be at the cornerback position. They've got tall, strong wide receivers led by this guy, Anthony Lucas, against a Texas defensive backfield that's much shorter. Look for a lot of those fade routes and the jump ball. Now, the reason they want to get the quarterback outside the pocket is because the pocket is where the Texas defense begins with these two enormous guys. Casey Hampton, Sean Rogers. Hey, these two guys are big and powerful. They could line up in the National Football League. Arkansas offense today, whenever it's a passing play, they want to put 4 offensive linemen on those two guys.
All right, let's go to the other side, Dave Lapham. This is a high-octane Texas offense, but without Kwame Cavill. What's that do to him?
Well, you lose 100 catches, it hurts. I mean, there's no question about it. They've got Kwame Cavill packages that are by the boards now, but they've got Major Applewhite at the quarterback position. His name's Major, but he is a true field general. Tremendously smart football player, and he'll run Texas's stuff. He'll spread the field, and he'll throw to his other wideouts, and they have to step up. I think a big guy today, though, is tight end Bo Scaife. They will flex Bo Scaife. He'll be in the slot a little bit. He'll be a 4th wideout in that 4 wide receiver package. He's going to have to play big. The other quarterback that's going to see some time today is Chris Sims. Yes, that is the son of Phil Sims, and he's excellent, and he will play some significant snaps early in this football game. They want to get him battle tested. Defensively, Arkansas is very tough in the secondary. That's where their strength is. Barrett at the corner position, Kennedy at the safety position will be playing on Sunday. So one of the wide receivers has to step up, or more than one has to step up and make some plays in place of Kwame. But once again, it all boils down to the Hogs, the big offensive line, Hodges Mitchell. They have to run the football. If Texas becomes one-dimensional, it's playing right into Arkansas's hands. Get that running game going, and then they'll be able to throw the football.
Well, we've heard from Tim, we've heard from Dave. Let's hear from Arkansas head coach Houston Nutt down in the locker room.
Razorback. Power Razorback players. With all your heart, all your passion. Hey, let's go! Let's go, baby!
difference in an upset by NC State. Special teams a positive, however, the next week in a 69-17 thrashing of Stanford. 3 easy wins and sent Texas rolling into the showdown against Kansas State, where the Wildcats bested the Longhorns 35-17. But then Texas 2 weeks later rebounded with their biggest win of the season, a 24-20 win over then number 3 Nebraska. 3 more wins sent the Horns all the way to number 7 in the country and into their emotional showdown with Texas A&M. The Aggies prevailed, and Nebraska subsequently got revenge for the earlier loss with a win in the Big 12 championship game. And now here comes the Arkansas Razorback, led by head coach Houston Nutt. Razorbacks started strong this season. They went 3-0 in non-conference play, including a 26-0 manhandling of SMU right here in the Cotton Bowl. 2 early losses dampened their SEC season, however, and it took wins over South Carolina and Auburn to right the ship. But without a doubt, the highlight, a 28-24 win over number 3 Tennessee in Fayetteville. Sweet revenge for Cliff Sterner and all Hawk fans after last season's crushing defeat. Arkansas followed that up with a win over number 12 Mississippi State. The first time ever they've beaten 2 top 12 teams in consecutive weeks, and they come rolling in to this Cotton Bowl game. Let's go downstairs for the coin toss. From respective schools, Darrell Royal and Frank Broyles. Boy, did they have some battles here in Dallas and Little Rock and in Fayetteville. I'd like to remind you to predict the play with OpticSports.com. Click on Predict the Play and compete against all others in real time. Your best spot for sports, FoxSports.com. When we return, Arkansas winning the toss, and we'll have the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl from Dallas. Horns led by 48-year-old head coach Mack Brown in his second year, and they've gone to back-to-back Cotton Bowl games, 8 straight bowl bids overall, going back to his days in North Carolina. And then the native of Little Rock, Arkansas, 42-year-old Houston Nutt. In his 2 seasons, they've won 16 games, including a share of the SEC West a year ago. This game also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. So we're set to go. Arkansas winning the toss. Good morning to the Longhorns. Victor on 28, Hodges Mitchell. The star running back number 3 waiting to receive the kick from Tony Dotson. Let's meet the Texas Longhorns. Our Southwestern Bell starting lineup led by the sophomore redshirt Major Applewhite, 17-5 as a starter, including a Cotton Bowl win last year against Mississippi State. Up front, Leonard Davis, just an enormous human being. That's all you can say. He's the left tackle. Hodges Mitchell, the man to keep an eye on in the backfield. Jamel Thompson gets his first start of the year filling in for Kwame Cavill, who caught 100 passes during the season. They'll give it to Mitchell, and he's tripped up. A gain of close to 4 out to the 24-yard line. Defensively for Arkansas. Brought to you by Southwestern Bell. Garner, Cooper, Davis, and Hall up front. They go with 2 linebackers, and Caver very active and very athletic. The guys to keep an eye on, David Barrett, number 18, the cornerback, and the All-SEC All-American performer at free safety, number 29, Kenoy Kennedy.
Was the man that the Texas offense was most concerned about up front. He's big, he's physical, he's got outstanding speed. Watch him here, working right up through the middle of the field. There's the swim move, and he's right on Major Applewhite. So you see the upfield move, and then the speed to bring Applewhite down.
I'll tell you, Tim, it was a nice rush by Cooper, but Roger Racel's technique was horrible. He moved both his feet at the same time. He jumped inside, and he gave Cooper an outside rush lane. Racel's got to settle a little bit stronger.
3rd and 10 for the Longhorns. And Applewhite out of a shotgun. Ball was batted and incomplete. So 3 and out for Texas offensively. Barrett on the coverage.
This Arkansas defense is all about the blitz. And Jamel Harris came on the blitz, forced Major Applewhite to hurry his throw, and then leveled him after he got rid of it.
Texas's worst nightmare, 3 and out to start the football game. They don't want to get frustrated. They're used to scoring quickly, getting off to quick starts. Favors Arkansas right now.
Well, I said Arkansas had the edge. I thought they had the emotional edge watching these 2 teams in practice this week.
Ryan Long to punt it away. Hubert Loudermill run back to receive the punt. Low line drive. Loudermill will have a chance to return it. Open field tackle. Harold Dillon. These are special teams man. So here's the Southwestern Bell starting lineup for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Clint Sterner, second team All-SEC performer, owns every major Razorback career and single-season passing records up front. A big offensive line led by Bobby Williams, the senior. And in the backfield, Chris Chakuma will get the start in place of the freshman Cedric Hobbs. He was late for a team meeting. We'll keep an eye on Anthony Lucas, the wide receiver, number 8. Sterner comes out throwing, and it looked to be tipped at the line of scrimmage. The Longhorns defensively 6th in the nation in total defense. And the 2 guys in the middle are something, Rogers and Hampton. You'll watch them on Sundays in the not-too-distant future. Rawls, Lewis, and Jones, the linebackers. Very small cornerbacks, as Tim told you. Irvis Hill and Ahmad Brooks, each 5'9". Hard-hitting safeties in Brown and Jackson, 2nd and 10.
Well, it was nice coverage by Greg Brown, the safety. Again, we said Sterner wants to roll out. You saw it on that play right there. Roll out, avoid the pressure from inside from those big defensive tackles, and then get the ball downfield.
And what they want to do, Tim, is tire these defensive tackles out. Hampton and Rogers, well over 700 pounds of humanity, make them chase Sterner, tire them out.
Make them run, and then there you see good coverage by Greg Brown.
So he is not in on this 3rd down and 10. Punt fake one way, they come back the other way to Chakuma. He slips 1 tackle, but is shy of the 1st down. So like the Longhorns, the Razorbacks are 3 and out.
That's big-time hustle by Everett Rawls. This is what you want to do when you're a linebacker out on the field. You're coming upfield, you've got to blitz, you've got the coverage. As soon as that ball is thrown, you got to run in pursuit.
The disruption is by Woodard. Woodard, at defensive end, reads the screen, comes off the tackles, blocked real quickly. He makes him change direction, and Rawls cleans up.
Chris Aiken, the senior, to punt it. Courtney Garcia waits. Returnable for Garcia from his 16.
Yeah, flip. clip out there right out in front of the officials. Looked like Babers clip for Texas.
Yeah, he hit Harold Harris.
Call it illegal block in the back these days.
That's going to keep the pressure on Major Applewhite and that Texas offense.
Jim Harvey, it's his last game as an official. He's retiring after today, so his final effort is going to be the Cotton Bowl.
He works out of Conference USA, and we wish him well. And this is his final game on the first day in the year 2000. Longhorns skip the football when we return. Around yesterday about missing two of his top performers, Kwame Cavill and Aaron Humphrey.
When you lose the leading receiver in the Big 12, an all Big 12 player, that's really going to hurt us. There's no question about that, and we'll have to adapt some. But where we'll probably be hurt more is in our four wideouts, because we only have 5 that are eligible to play now. So we've got to hope that those 4 stay healthy and stay rested.
Well, guys, I know I'm speaking for both of you when I say that after getting together with Mack Brown and Houston Nutt and the players from these respective teams, these are 2 first-class programs. You can understand why both these coaches have gotten things turned around in a hurry.
Yeah, and the key word there with these guys is family. And I like what Mack Brown said yesterday regarding the suspended players. He said, hey, it's a family thing. Sometimes adversity helps bring a family closer together.
And both of these coaches, Mack Brown and Houston Nutt, their coaching staffs, their players, comported themselves and conducted themselves so well for their respective universities. Top shelf, class acts all the way.
After the penalty, Texas begins deep in its own territory from the 10. Early movement.
You know what, guys? You look at this. Arkansas started their drive at the 40-yard line. Texas, their first drive was the 20. Second drive, first and 10 at the 10. Now they're moving back. The hidden yards, the field position battle in every game, that's the war being dominated by Arkansas.
And you said it earlier, Dave. You talked about how Texas offense has come out, and when they've been successful, they've had success early. And they lost their last 2 games because they came out sluggish and they ended up losing those games. And Mack Brown felt it was critical for his offense to get on a roll. He said they were feeling worse about themselves than they really should.
They said they had lost their swagger after rolling big wins earlier this season. The give is to Hodges Mitchell. And he finds a hole and brings it out to the 12-yard line. Mitchell, junior backup rookie, Williams each of the last 2 seasons. And boy, did he take the ball and run this year, his first full year as a starter. The 5th best single-season rushing in Texas history at 1,343 yards.
And he started out the season, Tom, he was trying to run like Ricky Williams. He was trying to run like a power back. A couple games into the season, coach, he said, hey, forget it. You got to get back to what you do. That's a quick scat back. He's done that, and he's had great success with it.
Running with his eyes.
Gain of 6, second and 9, and immediately hit and dragged down is the quarterback Applewhite by Quentin Caver.
The trademark of the Razorbacks is blitz pressure. Here comes Quentin Caver, and he is so quick. Excellent timing on that, and Hodges Mitchell just absolutely misses the blitz pickup.
Right, and I would block the guard down and let Hodges Mitchell take the big guy. Hodges Mitchell had to work around the quarterback, trying to negotiate inside to pick up the linebacker. He blocked from the inside out.
Well, the problem with blocking the guard down, though, was they had pressure coming from the outside as well.
Yeah, take away that inside.
Loss of 8, 3rd and 17 from their own 4. And Applewhite from his own end zone fires. A catch is made by Nunez. But he'll only get out to the 10-yard line, and for a second straight series, it's 3 and out for Texas.
Well, without Kwame Cavill, Texas's #1 receiver, Nunez becomes the #1 receiver, and that means he's got coverage all day by 18 right here. David Barrett, he is a physical guy, and he has great reaction time and great speed.
Nunez is going to have to beat the bump and run, Tim. Plain and simple.
Loudermilk is standing at midfield, so again, you figure the Razorbacks are going to get outstanding field position. Long from his own end zone. And Loudermilk Signals for the fair catch at his own 48-yard line, so that's where Arkansas will put it in play when we return. 42-yard punt. No score in the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Burnt orange to the Texas band. Boy, what a rivalry this is. It has been a tremendous honor for all of us to take part in this Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl. Great city of Dallas and tremendous hosts. No scores, second possession of the game for the Razorbacks. Michael Williams in motion, and the give is to Chris Chikuma. He crosses midfield and is tackled by Irvis Hill after a gain of close to 4. Chikuma getting the start. He's a senior, rushed for 550 yards, but Cedric Cobbs is the main man.
Well, Chikuma lost his job about halfway through the season because they put Cedric Cobbs in the game, and they were amazed at the diversity of talents that the guy had. And you see there, Chikuma's brought down by Irvis Hill. Nice tackle by Hill, but I'll be surprised if we don't see Cobb real soon.
Chikuma, the senior, out of Montgomery, Alabama, led the team with 8 touchdowns this year. Second and 6. Chikuma again tries to break it to the outside, and he is smothered. Terrific tackling by DeAndre Lewis, his sophomore middle linebacker.
Yeah, once again, with Texas, in all good defenses, you don't get knocked off their feet. Everybody stays up, separates from blocks, and runs inside out to the football. It gets involved. Redding, finally, at the end of the play, got taken down. The big freshman, true freshman, needs to get a little bit stronger. But I'll tell you what, these guys really fly to the football, both respective defenses.
Big third down for Arkansas. They need to get to the 42-yard line. Turner, a 3-step drop, finds his man, depending on the spot of the ball, as the catch is made by Joe Dean Davenport, the senior tight end.
He's going to have it, Tom, and he caught that ball well this side of the stick. And Joe Dean Davenport, I think, is a secret weapon for the Hawks because the focus is on these big, tall wide receivers, but as Texas uses 2 guys and spread their coverage to the perimeter of the field, put 2 guys on the wideouts, I think Joe Dean Davenport could have a big day. He's a big guy, he's strong, he's a good blocker, and he's also got great elusiveness and hands.
The first down of the game for either team. 1st and 10 from the 40, and they give it to Chikuma. And he's inside the 35, down to the 33, tripped up by Rawls and Lewis.
That was nice blocking up front by the Razorbacks offensive line. Watch this hole open up. Nice job here, getting the Texas interior guys going one way and then just following them along. Watch him here. Look at the push.
You get a trap. The right guard and the tight end, Davenport, it's a little counter. The guard traps, Davenport comes behind him and gets his block, and they attack him between the tackles, right at the strength of the Texas defense.
Gain of 7 for Chikuma. It's 2nd and 3. And Sterner, the play fake, rolls left. He looks across the middle and finds an open receiver inside the 15. And again, it's a tight end, Davenport. Gain of 19 for the Hogs.
When the focus of the defense shifts to the perimeter, the tight end can become your secret weapon. Here he is again. Joe Dean Davenport right up the center of the field. Now, defensively, you could be fooled by the guy's size, but look at the quickness and look at the hands.
Yeah, it's a naked bootleg. All the play action went one way, the quarterback rolled out against it the other way, wide open to the tight end.
1st and 10, Arkansas to Texas 13, and a flag. Early movement. It looked like Sean Rogers started too soon, but was he drawn offside?
Yeah, I think White might have flinched. Let's see if he flinched and drew him offside. Nope.
I thought he flinched when he saw Rogers coming at him.
That'll make you flinch.
You're darn right it'd make me flinch.
I tell you, Rogers and inside Hampton, these 2 big guys, they look like they swallowed a bowling ball and got bigger from there. and I'll tell you, they've got the low center of gravity. They play with a real low pad level. They have good hand placement. And Rodgers is tremendously athletic, but he can't, you know Tim better than anybody. Don't listen to the quarterback. Watch that football. When it moves, you move.
See what Arkansas has done in the red zone this season. 27 touchdowns of their 41 attempts. On a 1st and 5, towards the end zone, jump ball towards Anthony Lucas, and it's incomplete. Good coverage over there by Ahmad Brooks, and you brought it up earlier, Tim. They're going after the smaller Texas cornerbacks.
Tom, you're absolutely right. It's a fade route. Sterner just puts the ball up, says, all right, Anthony Lucas, I'm going to have you beat Ahmad Brooks. And Brooks has the coverage there.
Yeah, Brooks did a good job. If Lucas does get his hands on this football, the technique Brooks has to use is rake it out of there. A violent rake and strip the football.
High formation, they'll give it to Chakuma. And he is stopped maybe for a gain of 1. So a big 3rd down upcoming inside the Texas 10 for Arkansas. Cedric Woodard, the senior, making the stop for the Longhorns.
I think that Corey Redding, who is a true freshman and a defensive end, is a guy you don't want to run away from. I think you want to run at him. Now, on that last play, Arkansas ran away from him, and then you enable Redding to use that great athleticism and that great speed. I think he's a guy you want to attack right on the nose.
Couldn't agree more. A former linebacker. They get him with his hand down. He needs to hit the weight room a little bit, get a little bit thicker.
3rd down and 4. Sterner looking, throws to the end zone. He had an eye on Davenport, but it's too high. Good coverage by Lee Jackson. So the field goal unit will be sent out by Houston Nutt in an attempt for the early lead.
Well, the ball was high because the blitz was on. Irvis Hill, number 1, that's the cornerback, guys. Look at him coming, and wham! He lays it to Sterner. Whenever you blitz a cornerback, he comes from the perimeter, and the quarterback rarely sees him.
Tony Dotson hitting on 66% of his field goals on the season. This try will be from 25 yards away. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick. And the Razorbacks, after getting terrific field position, take advantage and come up with an early 3-0 lead here at the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
I remember a number of the players, they were actually inducted into the service during the halftime in their football uniform. And I remember a very famous picture of Martin Ruby standing during the induction ceremony with his hand raised, being inducted into the military service.
Part of our halftime feature from the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl here in Dallas, Texas. Great to have you with us. For many of you, I'm sure it's slow getting started after New Year's Eve. We have a little football bright and early.
It's great. Nothing better than football to start the new millennium, baby.
And hopefully a lot of people are doing that without a terrible headache right about now.
I'm hearing that, Coach.
Well, thank God so many are safe and sound after what was a scary night for many. Absolutely, it speaks volumes about this great country. Dotson boots it away. And it's going to be Mitchell from the 2. Crosses the 15, the 20, and he'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. Well, today it's college football. Tomorrow, back into the final Sunday of the regular NFL season. And postseason hopes very much on the line. The Lions battle Randy Moss and the Vikings, where the Giants try to shut down Evan Smith for the Cowboys. Coverage begins 2:09 Pacific on Fox. So you'll be on a plane after this one and making your way to Philadelphia.
That's right, to watch the St. Louis Rams, who I think are the best team in football right now.
Well, now we get our first look at Chris Sims, the freshman out of Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. He was the USA Today High School Offensive Player of the Year. And, of course, he is the son of former Super Bowl MVP Phil Sims. He'll pitch to Mitchell, and he is hammered behind the line of scrimmage by a host. The Razorback.
Well, Chris Sims isn't in there because of anything Major Applewhite did or didn't do. Matt Brown, the coach of Texas, told us, look, we wanted to get Sims some meaningful reps in a meaningful game, and then he's going to open up that quarterback position in spring ball. But he was adamant. He said, hey, Major Applewhite is still the offensive MVP for our league.
There you go, look at his daddy. Phil Sims has made the trip here to Dallas.
Looks like he could still play.
No doubt about that.
He can get the ball down the football field for him.
So can Chris.
Yes, he can. Great athlete.
He appeared in 6 games, made 1 start. That was against A&M. And his first throw is completed across the middle to Mike Jones, a sophomore tight end, and he appears to be about a yard or 2 shy of the first down. So a good start for Sims.
And Sims was excited about that one. You see how much heat he had on that football? Jones did a great job. He gets himself wide open here in this zone. Watch Sims rifle that thing in there. So it's a nice catch by Jones.
And I think the tight ends, we've talked about it more than once, the tight ends are going to come up large in today's football game. Jones not known as a receiver. Very, very physical, solid blocker. But he found himself a little seam in that zone and settled right in nicely.
3rd down and a yard. The Longhorns trying to get their first down of the game, and the quarterback keeper, and it looks as though Sims will pick up the first down.
And you know, the one thing that good for Phil Sims, I think they put him in this early in the football game because Texas got their best field position. Before Chris Sims, I'm sorry, Phil's son. I'm going to have trouble with that. Sorry, Chris. But, you know, Texas, their first 2 drives, they had an average drive start of the 16-yard line. In Arkansas, average drive start of the 44. Long field, short field, big edge, Arkansas early on.
They have doubled their yardage output in 3 plays since Sims entered the game. We'll give it to Mitchell, and he crosses the 37, close to the 40-yard line. A gain of nearly 4 yards for Hodges Mitchell.
One thing you saw on that was the Arkansas defense getting into the backfield. They want to knock Chris Sims. He's still a young quarterback. They want to knock him out. So watch the pressure here from DJ Cooper, Quentin Caver. Those guys are in the backfield in order to get the pressure on Chris Sims, but then they hand it off to Hodges Mitchell.
Right, Arkansas is not going to line up in front of these 300-plus-pound offensive linemen in 2-gap and take them right down the middle. They're going to hit 1 gap, penetrate, disrupt, get in the backfield.
Gain of 3 for Mitchell, 2nd and 7 for Sims and the Horns. Short drop, throws, and Mitchell makes a catch, but not much room there. Tackling by Caver, along with number 21, Orlando Green.
That's great athleticism by Caver. He's out there. He has to make a tackle in space. He fights off the blocker and still comes up with a big play.
This is kind of a non-conventional defense. They've got extra defensive back tight bodies, only two true linebackers. Their philosophy, though, is take away the inside, spill everything to the outside, run down, catch it.
It's really like a big nickel defense with 5 DB.
Exactly.
Big play here for Texas. The left arm, Roger Raisler, moved prior to the snap of the football.
I think Raisler, though, has been replaced by Derek Doctor, the freshman.
You're right, he just came in.
Yeah, they get a rotation there. They've got a rotation of 3 tackles and 3 guards. Texas does. Leonard Davis is out of the football game at this juncture as well. But this is a true freshman that's 330 pounds.
Yeah, the guy that's normally next to him, Leonard Davis, who's not in there now, they call him big.
Yeah.
I mean, on a line of where everybody's around 340, 350, Leonard Davis's nickname is big.
367 pounds. When he was a 7th grader, guys, 6'4", 300. How about being that 7th grade teacher?
Yeah, he's 367 after about 3 hours in the cell.
Yeah.
3rd and 12 for Sims. They come after him and they get it. Chris Brooks barreling through and dragging down Sims. So after a Texas first down, they're stopped.
Well, this is a bad situation for a young quarterback to be in. 3rd and very long. And you know, here they come on the blitz. Arkansas, that's the trademark of that defense.
And up front, not a good enough job of recognition and sorting out the stunt and the blitz.
Ryan Long, his third punt of the game. Loudermilk waiting. Has it at the 37, penalty marker down. He crosses midfield as Loudermilk, shoved out of bounds at the 45-yard line, but again a flag down on the play.
Yeah, you have the legal blocking back right out in the open field.
On the call from Jim Harvey, Houston Nutt has to feel good about the beginning of this game, especially defensively. Slow start for Mac Brown and the Texas Longhorns. They trail Arkansas 3-0. Talk about some kind of recruiter. That Mac Brown is. He owns the state of Texas.
He gets around a little bit. He's been in these other states over here. But you see from right here, 104 of his people are right in the big state of Texas.
Only 10 outside of Texas.
And of course, Tila there from New Jersey.
Yeah. That's it. And Major Applewhite, not a Texas native as well, so both the quarterbacks out of state.
Native of Louisiana. Again, terrific field position for the Hogs in the first carry by Cedric Cobb. Finishes in the flag down, but he spins his way to the 36-yard line. An outstanding freshman is Cedric Cobb.
I think this may come back. But this is why I said I was surprised not to see Cedric Cobb earlier in the game. He is something special. He runs very tall. He reminded me, when I saw him this week in practice and on film, he reminded me of Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, and the coaching staff, Houston Nutt said the first time it's going to be a hold that nullifies it. So on the edge, the holding penalty nullifies, but it doesn't nullify what he presents. And the coaching staff, the first time they saw Cobbs run the football, Houston Nutt said, "That's O.J. Simpson." And he hit the thing about
Joe Ferguson.
Yeah, Ferguson
was a Simpson teammate.
Right, said to Houston Nutt.
Yeah.
And the thing that this kid has, contact balance. I mean, rarely have you seen a kid get hit like he does, maintain that balance, and get the extra yards. He's phenomenal.
He's only a freshman.
Yeah. A true freshman. Some kind of future for Cedric Cobb. Four receivers set. And a quick throw, batted ball at the line of scrimmage. And nearly intercepted. Corey Redding nearly got his hands on the deflected football.
Well, I said run it, Corey Redding. I didn't say try to throw over the top of him, because this is why this guy was the defensive player of the year coming out of high school last year.
Joe Walker gets his hands on it. No, it's Redding got his hands on it. Walker was on the blitz, too.
Redding's got great height, and he's got great athleticism.
Yep.
Now, we talked about recruiting in Mac Brown. I mean, you get the offensive high school player of the year in Sims, the defensive high school player of the year in Redding.
Well, I think both these programs are going to be right up there in the upper echelons for years to come, because both coaches are great recruiters.
Play action fake, Sterner. With protection now in trouble, and he's buried all the way back to the 32. Rodgers was there.
Nowhere to go with this football. Nowhere to throw the football, and basically, due to the good coverage, everything eventually collapsed on him.
Right, that's a covered sack.
Right.
The Arkansas offensive line, look at Josh Melton right there, working on Casey Hampton. They do a nice job up front. Sterner has plenty of time, but he just can't use it. Nothing open downfield.
Now, if I'm an offensive lineman, I say to the quarterback, throw it away. Get rid of the football. Don't take the sack. Let's reload 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and a million. I don't know if you want to give up this much field position. Throw the thing away and don't worry about the incompletion. Beat the blitz by throwing it away.
There was our guy Redding right there in on it.
3rd and 32. 32 is Dave Lapham's play size for the play. That has changed since he has retired.
At birth, it was 32.
So that's the end of the first quarter. Arkansas leading Texas 3-0.
Fox Sports coverage of the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic is brought to you by cold, refreshing Zima. Zima, a few degrees cooler. By Ameritrade, believe in yourself. By the U.S. Army, be a part of the toughest, smartest Army in the world. Be all you can be. And by Southwestern Bell, a member of the SBC Global Network.
Bevo, a Texas Longhorn, has been a fixture at UT games since 1966. Well, you talk about living a good life. We're talking about recruiting, and we told you where the Texas roster is primarily made up, and they spread it around, a little more diversified at Arkansas.
Well, they really do, but look at where they get a lot of their players. 22 from the state of Texas as well. Texas football, high school football is pretty good for the country, but yeah, a little more cosmopolitan than Arkansas.
I don't see anything up here in New York. I'll tell you. 2 years from now, I would love to see one of my sons come to either of these programs.
Brings it out to the 35. So now Arkansas will have to find a way. This is some kind of series going back to the days when these schools were part of the Southwest Conference. This time they met head-to-head in bowl game in their first meeting in nearly a decade. Texas dominated the series for many, many years.
The last game played between these two teams, Arkansas was victorious.
They get a short punt. Letting it fall is Garcia. The ball is down at the 30-yard line, so we'll see if the Texas offense can find some kind of groove. They've been shut down by the Hogs thus far. Back the clock, 1969. Richard Nixon knew this was a huge game, dubbed the game of the century. Number 2 Arkansas, a 14-0 lead over number 1 Texas. And how about this fourth quarter run by James Street? 42 yards and a touchdown, then trailing 14-8, facing fourth down. Street hit tight end Randy Peschel for a miracle first down. Then 2 plays later, the Longhorns scored, and a 15-14 win awarded the President's number 1 ranking. There was talk about President Clinton coming to the game here today. Of course, a big Arkansas fan, Arkansas native. And I was wondering, since Richard Nixon dubbed Texas number 1, I mean, if President Clinton showed up and said Arkansas's number 1, is that the deal?
Number 1 for this one.
Commander-in-Chief didn't want to stop by today. He has busier and more important things to do. First down carry out to the 35-yard line by Mitchell. They've gone back to Major Applewhite now at quarterback.
Well, they want, again, the whole thing with Sims was to get him some meaningful playing time. Background stress over and over again. Don't make a big thing out of this. Applewhite is still our guy until Sims beats him out. It's all about production. And hey, these 2 guys, by the way, are pretty doggone good friends.
Roommates on the road. Very close.
Mitchell again, and he is stuck in his tracks by Randy Garner, the junior and a native Texan out of Atlanta, Texas.
Mel Harris just don't get
And not to lose at school, to go on to win. That proves you deserve to be number 1, and that's what you are.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah. Richard Nixon telling Darrell Royal, "You're number 1."
And you know that big play with the tight end, good double coverage. He's doing a good spot there.
3rd and 6, and Applewhite throws, catches made, but far shy of the first down. The completion of Mitchell, and what an open field stop by David Barrett.
David Barrett is not going to let you get over the top. Again, he's got great speed and he's a physical guy.
And no yards after contact. We talked about a perfect tackle. Catch, gone, done, nothing. I mean, that's just very, very sure tackling in the open.
You talked about it in the open game. Barrett and Kenoy Kennedy at the safety position. Those 2 guys are NFL bound. They are 2 talented guys.
See myself, sure.
What Houston Nutt say about Kennedy? He said he arrives at the tackle in a bad mood.
Loudermilk sent all the way back to his own 10-yard line. He's looking for somewhere to go. He got a huge block and then another. And manages to cross the 10 and bring it out to the 12. Boys, there's some hitting going on down there right now.
Any New Year's Eve headaches, they've taken care of that.
And a couple of New Year's Day headaches were just created. Watch out. Arkansas 3-0 lead. our game summary brought to you by Original Boards. A lot of defense and not much offense.
Well, you're right, and that's really what you expect, Tom, this early in a bowl game, because you have to understand, these offenses have not played a game in a month, so they have not been rhythm. Blitz, 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 you see it today, because the rhythm is not there in the past.
And Norman in the I formation, and again is to Cobbs. He breaks it to the outside, and he's stopped at the 14-yard line. Looks like there may have been a face mask penalty over on the sideline, but no flags down on the field.
I've been impressed so far with what the Texas cornerbacks have been doing against Arkansas's wide receivers. But you have to remember, there's a huge height differential. Arkansas's wide receivers, all tall, strong, Anthony Lucas, Eddie Boo Williams, and then you got Urban Sale and Ahmad Brooks. They've done a nice job for them.
On a 2nd and 8. And the catch is made on the near side out to the 20-yard line by the senior. Louisiana, Michael Williams will be a yard or two shy of the first down.
Nice adjustment by Quinn Sturgeon. Looked to his left, he saw double coverage, and looked back to his right to deliver.
And really, both quarterbacks aren't getting anything deep. There's things you can do. Ball the tight end, keep him in protection, or you can slide the offensive line, or 3-step up and get out of there. And that's what Sonny did.
Two tight ends set on 3rd and 2. Cobbs alone setback. Short drop, batted ball, and it's intercepted. Everett Wall going the wrong way, but nonetheless the first turnover of the game.
Has a short field. Well, this is using pressure to cover. Because Texas comes with an all-out blitz. They leave their quarterbacks in man-to-man coverage. Sterner drops back. Instead of getting the ball off, that ball gets knocked in the air by Tyrone Jones, number 39. Everett Rawls is there to make the big play.
Everett Rawls shows some great athletic ability. This is the old trip drill. Ball is in the air, it's tipped. Look at Rawls adjusting the football like a receiver. Great adjustment to the football, and he's trying to do a little too much. Just secure it, let the offense do the job.
So now Applewhite on first down comes back the other way, and the catch is made by Montrell Flowers. Ball came loose, but was he ruled down? Yes, he was. After a game of close to 4.
I'll tell you, Major Applewhite has taken ground. He's been sacked 3 times, and he's also been on the ground several other times, like on that play right there. Randy Garner on a stunt up the middle came through scot-free and put the wood to Major Applewhite.
Right, Major Applewhite talked about, Jim, how it starts with corners that provide tight coverage. For the most part, the corner's been pressing the wide out in Texas pretty well, and Major Applewhite not getting the ball, getting the football in rhythm.
The pitch to Hodges Mitchell cuts it back to the inside, and he's met head-on by Tabor and Kennedy. He'll be a couple of yards shy of the first down.
You know, the thing about Hodges Mitchell that makes him so tough, the offensive line, a bunch of behemoths. I mean, massive. He hides behind him. He's 5'7". He hides, and all of a sudden, boom, there he is, like Barry Sanders used to hide behind that group. But he's 190. This guy was 6'1", 225. He's just short. He's a man. He's just short.
That's like picking a jelly bean out of Boris Rock. You gotta find him and then reach around him and get him somehow. He's tough to get.
I find that jelly bean, I like the sweet spot.
You definitely would. 3rd down and 2. Brandon Healy in motion, and they'll get it to Mitchell. He has a first down and inside of 27. Hodges Mitchell Jr., his father senior, was a teammate of Matt Brown's during their playing days at Florida State. In fact, they were roommates together.
And also, his dad was a running back. I'll tell you what, Arkansas defense, you don't want this thing to get going. And what we're seeing right now, it looks like Hodges Mitchell is getting going with that cutback run. That's what you want to do against a fast pursuit defense. Cut it back against the Braves.
Mitchell now he carries for 28 yards. Applewhite rolls left. Is hit hard again. He was hammered by Quentin Cable.
is Arkansas moves late to try to confuse the offensive line. Watch the movement here by the defensive front late.
Yeah, you're right. Look at Cave. He came all the way over to the other side before he comes on the blitz.
And that's disrupting the blocking assignments of the offensive line late. They don't have time to adjust their calls, and he comes clean. So that movement at the line of scrimmage late is real pressure on the minds of the line.
2nd and 10, and they pitch it juggling is Mitchell, but he found the handle and crosses at 25, picks up 2 yards. That could have been a disaster for the Longhorns after getting the big break a moment ago on the Arkansas turnover. The one thing about this Texas team, they forced 33 turnovers during the regular season, the most it has scored since 1982. They turned those 33 takeaways into 113 points. Can they make something out of this turnover now? Receivers check in. Applewhite completes the throw, but down is Brandon Healy. Just as he catches the season, he is backing up Janelle Thompson, who is starting in place of Kwame Cavill.
You know, we talk about David Barrett, Arkansas's cornerback, and his physical skills. Watch his mental skills. He drops all the way back to the chain, so he knows where the first down is. He's letting him say, and Healy, you catch anything in front of me, and then I'm going to come up and wallop you and force you to kick a field goal.
Healy's mistake is taking the knee. He didn't have to take the knee. In college football, you put the knee down, it's over.
Now Chris Stockton on the attempt at 35-yard field goal, and he's trying to tie the game. Ryan Long, the holder, and the kick is a beauty. Welcome back to the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl here in Dallas. Dave Lapham, Tim Green, I'm Tom Brenneman, and I know, guys, we have had a terrific time. Tim, you're normally in the NFL. Dave, you are too. But this college game, both you guys played college football. You turn back the clock, all the emotion, the pageantry is terrific.
I love the enthusiasm that these guys are having. You know, you're seeing it out there. So far, it's been a defensive battle, but the offense is starting to get into it. I agree with that.
Thought about it momentarily, and he's able to only cross the 15 and carries out to the 17-yard line. Cobb's only 3 carries thus far for 5 yards. They haven't gotten as much into the offense and did not start. We'll see if indeed the Arkansas offense is starting to get it together. Take a timeout and return in a moment. Time to take a look at our Aflac trivia question. Who is the only person to be inducted into the Halls of Fame for pro football, national soccer, and international tennis? Think about that one. We'll give you a moment. I know you guys have already taken a peek at the cards, so please don't act like Papa knows. Otherwise, you were a handful.
Tom was going to blow you in like that.
Not a chance. It's killing me.
Talking about these guys on the interior. Here's Sean Rogers right here. Watch the penetration and the quickness of Sean Rogers right through. I'll tell you what, you're going to try to block down on it. You better get your helmet in front. Absolutely. Once they penetrate, they can adjust to the ball carrier exceptionally well.
That was Takuma, and pardon me. Has been taken out of the game. And now Skinner rolling protection, now in trouble and has to throw it away. Closing hard and closing fast was D.D. Lewis.
We talked about Clint Sterner and Arkansas wanting to roll him out of the pocket. And anytime you do that, you have to pin the defensive end. So that's what they do. Cedric Woodard, number 50, is the defensive end. They do a nice job there, right there of the pin by the fullback. So this is what they want, but I tell you what, the coverage downfield once again by the Texas secondary is as good as it gets.
Getting Sterner out of pocket to change the launch point, get away from all that traffic, the crisscrossing, the stunting inside by the big guys is important.
Third and 9. Here comes a blitz. They pick it up, and the long ball down the sideline. Juggled in and out of the hands of Boo Williams. He had his man beat, and it looked like a gorgeous throw from Sterner.
Yeah, these are good throws to take inside.
Let's talk about the route first. There's Boo Williams. He does the stop and go, and I like Ahmad Brooks' recovery. He's right there just enough to confuse Boo Williams.
Watch the defensive tackles inside. See the cut block. That's what I do. If I'm an offensive lineman with that kind of physical presence and strength, I'd get down and cut them a little bit, make them think about that, at least change that technique up. I think that was a good idea by the O-line at Arkansas.
So now the Longhorns should get good field position. Very short punt. And it will continue to roll, taking a Razorbacks bounce to the 40-yard line, and that's where it's down. So with 6:36 to play until halftime, a 3-3 game. Southwestern Bowl, Cotton Bowl, 3-3 our score, 6:36 to play up until halftime. Once again, our Aflac trivia question. We gave you a little while to think about it, but of course you weren't with us. Who is the only person to be inducted into the Halls of Fame for pro football, national soccer, and international tennis? Lamar Hunt Sr. How about that resume?
True sportsman right there. Unbelievable. Every decade he's in the Hall of Fame.
Rolling left is Zachary. Too far out in front of there. The intended receiver out of the backfield, Ricky Brown. Boy, he had him wide open.
Well, I like what Texas did, though, with Major Applewhite. They're spinning him out of the pocket because he has been hammered so far this game. So whenever that happens, this is what you want to do. It's a play action, the bootleg. They roll him around here. And Ricky Brown, he's got to make this catch. This is a play that he's got to make.
And really, Texas is making a concession. Applewhite is much more comfortable in the pocket, but Arkansas is making them change their game plan due to their excellent pressure.
Look at that. 4 for 7 so far today.
But only 19 yards. It was away, and Mitchell didn't fool anybody. Barely got back to the line of scrimmage.
We talked about Applewhite's pressure and the pressure Arkansas defense has put on him. Take a quick look back. There's Cameron. There's DJ on the sack. Again.
And you know, it doesn't always have to be interceptions and sacks, knockdowns, hurries, making him he's out of rhythm. I mean, he's totally out of rhythm. And that's what this whole thing is, timing and rhythm. And he doesn't have any in the pocket right now. Not comfortable in the pocket whatsoever because of all the
Good protection this time. He drops it off the wheels, but the ball is shy of the first down. There is no question. The Longhorns are missing Kwame Cavill right now. I mean, he is their big play wide receiver. And with a guy like Nunez, the Arkansas defense, they'll let him run the 6- and 7-yard route. He's not going to kill you after the catch.
And Tom, he's the third down go-to guy. I mean, a high percentage of his catches have been on third down, moving the chains. They are missing the Swami Kwame big time.
And again, Cavill, along with teammate Aaron Humphrey and 2 others, violating team rules, and suspended for this game. Dodges one tackle and another, still on his feet, and he'll be stopped at the 8-yard line.
Well, so far, Texas defense keeping them right in this game because as well as Arkansas defense has been able to limit Major Applewhite without his favorite receiver. The Texas defense, I have been really impressed with their coverage downfield and what they've been able to do with some big, physical Arkansas wide receivers, and also their run pursuit. They've really shut down the run game for Arkansas.
I think it starts up front, Jim. You know better than anybody. You pressure the quarterback consistently. Starter, I don't think, is comfortable in the pocket as well. The pocket's being collapsed by the two horses up inside. Off the edge, decently as well.
Well, in the college game, for many of you perhaps that follow the NFL a bit more closely than the college game, because of the sheer numbers, there are certain players that wear the same number. So down right now for Texas, we are assuming that is the linebacker Everett Rawls.
It's not.
Or is it Montrell Flowers?
I don't think it's either. I think it's.
It's under?
Well, I think it's under, but I'm not exactly sure.
Looks like number 2, we're having a hard time telling. It looks like number 2 for Texas. And again, they have Montrell Flowers, a wide receiver, and Everett Rawls.
But they've also got under.
They have 3 of them.
You bring them out of the stands. There are number 2s everywhere. He got detonated. There's no question about that. And that's one of the coach's real concerns in bowl action is timing on special teams. You know, you can time your offense up, time your defense up, scrimmage during the layoff, but it's very hard to go special teams full bore. Michael Unger, he went special teams full bore. That time he felt the brunt of the full bore.
Well, it looks like he's all right. That's a good shot. Question I have, you have so many players who are in some cases as these 3 players are number 2 for Texas. You can always point to the other number 2. He's a bad guy in case Mac Brown's yelling at somebody.
That's right, it's not me.
There's safety in numbers.
Yes, that's for sure. And Niner coming up at halftime with Lamar Hunt Sr., some of his Cotton Bowl memories. We'll hear from both marching bands. Today, Hobbs with a carry. Brings it out to the 14-yard line.
As we said, this has been a defensive game. And you can see from these first 5 possessions with Arkansas, they only had this one here where they came out with a field goal where they really got anything going. And if you remember what happened on that series, it was 2 big passes to the tight end, Joe Dean Gavin.
Well, look at the field position there, and they did nothing with it. Now they're backed up, and they're struggling. But those first 3 possessions, to get not much out of it, really hurt them. They had short field.
Emmanuel Smith in motion. Again, as the Cottons, who breaks the tackle and is close to the first down yet. Trying to get to the 20. He was already got there. Picked up by Ron Reeves, a freshman out of Houston.
Well, they got to go to the outside on the run because, again, look at these big guys. Look at Hampton right there. They put 2 guys on. They put the guard and they put the center on the inside and neutral. That's the impact that those kind of guys have on this football.
Yeah, they two delightful young men. Hampton and Rogers sitting down at the same time. And they were giving it back and forth from the second they walked in.
They're close. Yeah. They're real good friends as well as Patriots on the line of scrimmage, to say the least.
Did pick up the first pass. Okay, would-be tacklers all the way out to the 34-yard line. And that'll bring the Razorback faithful to their feet.
I said before, Cedric Cobb reminded me of Eric Dickerson. Great speed outside, but he also has tremendous power and tremendous drive. And look at the help he's getting there from his offensive line. That's a great job right there up front by Lazarius White, number 66. He stays on the middle linebacker. That helps Cobb come up with big rush.
Greg Brown, you better worry about tackling. Don't try to whip that football when they get from the ground.
Gain of 14. Sterner across the middle. It's intercepted by Greg Brown.
Couldn't force that fumble at you now. Just pick you up.
Greg Brown is Texas's defense. He's the safety. He's in the middle of the field. Sterner wants to deliver this football to his favorite target, Anthony Lucas, number 80. And watch Brown just slip right there, right underneath that cover, right there. force that ball in there. There was Texas white all around that football.
So now another interception. Let's see what the Longhorns can do. Reception made by Mitchell, but he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. Terrific coverage in the open field and a tackle by Andrea Moss.
An interesting thing about Moss is he is their rover position. He's the 5th defensive back, but they use him in the run game as well because he's a very physical player for a cornerback.
When you get a running back out in the open field, it's like a long lateral, and Moss makes an open field tackle one-on-one. That's a big win for him because Hodges Mitchell has got the quickness to make you miss.
2nd and 9. They give it to Mitchell, and he was licked at the line of scrimmage by Sasha Lancaster.
DJ Cooper too, Tom. I think Cooper was the guy who made the initial stick. And we said it, Texas offense very concerned with the skills of DJ Cooper.
And the problem is, if you're going to angle block, if you're going to block back and pull people, you have to take the proper angle. Arkansas is people to the punch. They're penetrating the gap before Texas can get their heads in the front and come down.
This is a great response by the Arkansas defense to another turnover.
Absolutely. And they were showing blitz. And Corey Quye to start a little early out at right tackle.
Prior to the snap, ball start.
Dave Blackman talked about it before. This Arkansas defense, they're shifting around, they're moving around, they're bringing their blitzes from all kinds of exotic places, and that's what forces the Texas offensive line to jump.
And with their sheer quickness, physical quickness, Tim, they're wanting to get the early jump to get an angle to intercept them. And if they get off the ball so well, Texas trying to jump that snap down a little bit to hurt.
Four receiver set on 3rd and 16. They need to get to the 37-yard line. Applewhite good protection this time. Throws incomplete. Blanket coverage on the far side by Orlando Green on Marshall Flower.
Mack Brown can't believe that there wasn't a flag throw. Mack Brown on the Texas sideline reacting like he's all over him. He went through and threw his back to make the play, but Green, good route recognition. He gives a little bit of a cushion. Route recognition. Now, does he, a little right hand, does he go over his back to make the play? That's what Mack Brown's concerned about. And you get that right hand in there cleanly.
Yeah, you're allowed to have contact with the wide receiver. You're just not allowed to impede his motion. And I thought that was a great defensive play by Orlando Green.
Rossi Moriali is brought back to receive the punt for the first time today. Angling pump towards the sideline. It looked like it hit an Arkansas player.
That's it, but he recovered.
Yep, jumped right on the football. Well, alert play right there by number 21, Orlando Green.
Back-to-back nice plays by him in coverage and then on special teams. And a lot of college football teams have starters playing special teams. It hit Texas.
Yeah, actually it hit the Texas player first. I think it hit Jamel Thompson.
Hit Thompson.
So that's a
dead ball there.
Yeah.
Boy,
actually, Orlando Green could have picked it up and run with it.
And boom. It hit Thompson's knee and Green falls on it.
But guys, and you brought it up to a moment ago, a huge stand by the Arkansas defense after the interception last quarter.
Tremendous job, of course, after the first turnover. Texas came down, broke down, and picked up the field goal.
Hogs have 1:52 to play until halftime. 3-3 game. And the give is to Cobbs, and not much room that time.
See, I don't think that Arkansas is really going to be able to get a run game going. Because what has happened in this game so far is Texas has gotten great coverage out of their quarterbacks. So they are playing 8 men up to stop the run. They are overloading Arkansas against the run. And until Arkansas can threaten those quarterbacks on the perimeter with the deep pass, Texas is going to just keep that box loaded up with run defense.
Try to run again. Cobbs breaking to the outside and coming up and making the play from his safety position.
This is an interesting contrast in the pits and what you have going on. Tim, you mentioned Texas shutting down Arkansas's running game, and it starts up front. Those big defensive linemen are knocking Arkansas's smaller offensive linemen backwards. then on the flip side of it, Arkansas's quickness is too much for Texas's size. So neither team is able to sustain a block. Texas separating from blocks, pursuing, making plays.
Well, Texas defense, they've got them outnumbered. Arkansas's got to go to the air, and they've got to get some big plays out of their wide receivers.
Great call. Third down call, draws and screens.
Well, Dave, you're a former offensive lineman. This is good draw blocking or what? You see that hole open up your center column?
The offensive line did a great job of showing pass protection. And Texas got into their rush lanes and then lost their pass rush lane integrity a little bit. Cobbs broke the line of scrimmage, but once he gets into the linebacker level, he's a load.
I still say they've got to pick the ball up to those big wide receivers.
Especially now with under a minute to go until halftime, 3-3 game, and they're just going to keep it on the ground to Cobb. And Rogers able to bottle things up and make the stop. You guys a little surprised? Less than a minute, they're not trying to go down the field before the half.
Absolutely surprised because, again, you've got the big wide receivers. They need to make big plays. Arkansas is the underdog. Hey, go for the kill.
And the way Arkansas's defense is playing, I think you can roll the dice a little bit. Neither offense for Texas or Arkansas has been able to take advantage of the short field.
Well, remember, Houston Nutt told us yesterday, he said, as Sterner goes, so goes our team. And Clint Sterner on that last pass, he went right into coverage.
Second and 7, final play more than likely to have. And Sterner's going to air it out down the field. Billy Williams attack. He is down at the 43. The time is expired.
This is the kind of thing these Arkansas wide receivers do. Watch Williams. There's a little push off there on Ernest Hill. Gets away with it. Uses that big body to get himself over downfield. For a big pass play, it's all for naught.
A gain of 46 yards. That's more passing yards than the Razorbacks have.
Got Eddie Pruitt himself, though, didn't it?
Eddie Pruitt, he'll scare a bunch of people in the secondary.
This great rivalry. Texas and Arkansas. 3-3 at halftime. Today we're going to see great festivities coming your way.
And there we are, the first score here in the 1949 Cotton Bowl tussle between Oregon and SMU. Doak Walker on an off-tackle smash from the 1-yard line. It is off to Brown, and Brown is over for a touchdown.
UCLA 17 and Arkansas 3.
One of the most memorable Cotton Bowls, as far as I was concerned, was the performance that Bobby Lane put on in the Cotton Bowl against the University of Missouri. I think it was around 1946, and Bobby Lane had a hand in scoring all 40 points in that game, either throwing for the touchdowns or scoring the touchdowns and kicking the points, and I think Texas won by something like 40-27 over Missouri.
Presenting the camera highlights in the world of sport.
I've kind of accepted it as part of my football life and life in general, but because it was such an unusual happenings in sports, I guess, and especially in football, to have somebody come off the bench and tackle you on the way for a touchdown.
Here's that celebrated play all over again, and while you watch it, remember it's just a youngster overcome by the excitement of the moment. A youngster who apologized for a deed that he can't realize he actually committed. Don't worry, Tommy. Sports-loving Americans have already forgotten it. Good luck.
I thought it was a very improbable-looking situation, and you could very clearly see Tommy Lewis come off of the Alabama bench and make the tackle on Dickie Nagel.
So I was about 8-10 inches inside of the boundary, and I was really aware of staying inside of the chalk lines. And then I saw him coming out in the crouch, and I said, I looked back, and then I said, he's coming out to tackle me. And about that time, as I got there, I took one good step to the left, and that's when he lowered the boom on me. And he got me a real good shot.
One of the really significant Cotton Bowl games was Syracuse-TCU and the performance that Jim Brown put on. Jim was an All-American football player at Syracuse University, and he came to town with his Syracuse teammates.
To Brown, and Brown is over. His third touchdown of the game.
Luckily for the Southwest Conference, TCU made 28. They made one more point than Jim Brown that day.
The game was such a big game, and we had just beaten Army 21-15 in a heck of a game. It was the Army-Navy game, and you know, ironically, that was the year that John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, and the Army-Navy game was played a week late, and it was a lot of emotion in the game, and if we won the game, we were going to get a chance to play in the Cotton Bowl for the national championship, and in Dallas, Texas, and against the University of Texas, they were 10-0, and we thought we were the #1 team in the country, and of course they thought they were #1, and I guess we proved it to them that day. They were #1. The way they played, they got off to a great start. They beat us in a tough loss, and I wake up in the middle of the night saying, hey, I wish we could have had another chance to play in the Cotton Bowl, especially when you're playing for the national championship.
When Alabama came to play against Texas A&M, it was kind of an interesting situation because it was teacher and pupil, Bear Bryant coaching Alabama, and the pupil, Gene Stallings, coaching at Texas A&M. And it was an upset that day, and Texas A&M won the game. And I think one of the great photographs of college football is Bear Bryant helping carry Gene Stallings off the field on his shoulders after that game.
It was a very special feeling, obviously. It was his way of sort of congratulating me and Texas A&M. I had played for Coach Bryant. I'd coached for Coach Bryant, and we were playing in that particular game. And rather than just shaking hands when the game was over, he reached down and sort of picked me up. That's a very special memory for me.
Notre Dame was playing at University of Houston, and late in the game they trailed by a significant score, but Joe Montana led a comeback in the final minutes of the fourth period and scored 3 touchdowns or so to win the game right at the end. And my embarrassment is that I wasn't smart enough to see what a great quarterback Joe Montana was, because he wasn't drafted until the 3rd round of the draft that year. And all those great years he had with the 49ers, I now realize could have been with the Kansas City Chiefs. The 50th anniversary game in the Cotton Bowl was quite an emotional day. It was a tremendous event, and part of that was the Bo Jackson scenario, where Bo played in the Cotton Bowl game, and after one of his great seasons in college football, he had a run I can absolutely remember to this day. That was a forerunner of what he was going to do in pro football. But Auburn against Texas A&M was an outstanding game.
Southwestern football fever is concentrated in the Lone Star State as the Galloping Gales of St. Mary's invade Dallas, Texas to pit power against the razzle-dazzle of Texas Tech. Roll the pitch again. Another wired scamp ran over the goal line. The final was St. Mary's 20, Texas Tech 13.
Some of the great memories from the Cotton Bowl and more.
Low-scoring game, obviously, right now. What did your offense have to do to turn things around in the second half?
We got to block somebody. We didn't block anybody in the first quarter. We had poor field position. We busted a couple of routes. So we've got to go back and do better things to settle their defense around. They're really quick. They got a great defense. We knew that coming in. They're moving people around, but it still is to our advantage to get somebody on them. So we got to get big guy on big guy and get some body on body in the second half. We started making some progress the second quarter, but we need to block them well enough that we can open up our offense the second half.
Play both quarterbacks again in the second half?
Probably. We just got to see how this third quarter goes. Most important thing's winning the game.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Guys, back to you.
Mike Ducey, thank you very, very much. So let's look ahead. You heard from Mack Brown there, but, you know, is blocking obviously going to be the key, Dave, in the second half, or is there something else to look for?
Well, you know, I think maybe strategically we want to play our phone booth. I think maybe 2 tight ends, we put their phone booth and knock them around a little bit.
Well, Tim, get your thoughts. I mean, Arkansas
think we saw Cedric Cobb start to come on with the draw play. But to run the draw play effectively, you got to get the pass play going. And I know that they're a little hesitant because Sterner has 2 interceptions so far, but I still say they got to put the ball up, get it to their wide receivers, get Texas deep, they can pass, and then run Cedric Cobb on the draw.
Cobb is waiting for the second half kickoff. Spinning it away is Chris Stockton. Sending Cobb deep into his own end zone where he'll take a knee, and the Razorbacks will get it out at the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the halftime numbers. And not much offensively in a 3-3 game.
Well, I think even though Arkansas has 127 here, you have to remember 45 of that was the last second pass to Boo Williams. That was a 45-yard catch.
Yeah, this is the big deal. 11 yards rushing on 15 attempts. Now, quarterback sacks go against rushes in college football, but that's unbelievable for Texas not to be able to run the ball.
This is the only reason Texas has even got 3 points. 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions by Texas defensive backs. Actually, one was a linebacker after the ball.
High formation, Nathan and Cobbs in the backfield behind Sterner. Actually, it's Jakuma who gets the start on the first play of the second half, and he is stopped at the line of scrimmage. Longhorns are saying the ball came loose. The officials are saying Jakuma was down.
Casey Hampton, this is what he does so well. He's so powerful, but he's so quick. Watch him here. Look at the big guy. Right over the nose. Josh Melton, the center, is chipping off of him. Look how much movement he gets up here. I mean, he's got Jakuma 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
And did you see the penetration Rogers got in the other gap? I mean, he penetrated up the field, and then Hampton took it behind him. Unbelievable. That tandem was awesome.
They got to spread this game out. Get the ball out here to these wide receivers.
Turner under pressure gets it away, and the catch is made on the near side. And a very short pickup, only about 3 yards to Michael Williams.
And that was a nice tackle by Lee Jackson coverage. But still, look, I'm glad they're throwing the ball. They're spreading it a little. They got to go to Anthony Lucas. He's downfield, matched up on a shorter cornerback. They need to put that ball up in the air.
And Sean Rogers, the all Big 12 performer along the defensive front of Texas, is the man down on the field.
And he's not doing well. He's got his helmet off and in obvious pain. Sometimes you get tangled up in those piles, and I was talking about cut blocking. Interesting to see if somebody, and it's legal. It's not something that's an illegal tactic. As long as he's not engaged by somebody else, he can be coached to go ahead and take those legs out from under him. Take a look at what happens to Rogers here as he's in the middle of the pile.
There he is right here.
Yeah, he'll work up the football field a little bit. He gets double teamed. The center slides his way, and as he's just bowling his way up the football field, the left guard goes down, and he's down around his knees. He's engaged by one, and the other one cut him.
I don't know what the rules are. I know, Dave, you know more about the college, but in the NFL, that's an illegal shot block.
Right, and if the center has his hands on him and engaged like he did, the guard to go down and chop him, the old accordion block we used to call it. It used to be a legal tactic to perform. The league did outlaw it, and they finally outlawed clipping from the backside in between the tackles a little bit too.
And Dave, I got to ask you, I mean, there is obviously a fine line there between what is legal, what is not legal, but then really to some extent what is ethical and unethical. I mean, you're talking about in this game where a young man may have a future in the NFL, certainly in Rogers' case, and all of a sudden a play like that, and who knows what could happen.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, that's exactly what he's thinking about, protecting that lead.
Rogers helped off the field. It's underway in the third quarter. We'll be right back.
Sean Rogers out after this play here. It's a chop block, which is legal in college. Josh Melton centers on it, and Jarius White chops him low in the National Football League. That is an illegal block, and here it's legal. Some people say unethical. I think the NCAA needs to step up.
I saw this when I coached at each university decide how to coach that and not to coach.
Third down and 8. Lewis shows blitz, and he's coming, and he lays a lick on Sterner, who gets the pass away. Completed to Boo Williams, but far shy of the first down. So it's in out for the Razorbacks.
The one thing that's been remarkable for both defenses this entire football game is the sure tactic secondary. There has been minimal run after catch, yard after catch, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to catch the football and right to the turf.
I think that's a great point there. You know, people in the National Football League talk all the time. They bemoan a lack of quality tackling, and so far from these two defenses, we've seen nothing but.
Punted away by Aiken and Garcia. Here as he received the ball, it is loose on the field, still loose. Missing was an Arkansas player, still on the ground, and who has it? There is a penalty flag down on the field.
And that's a halo infraction. That's going to be a penalty on the punt coverage team. So Texas, I think, will still retain control of this football, even if they have not recovered the fumble. Because there's a 2-yard area that coverage team in college football, the punt team cannot invade. It's called the halo. And that halo was invaded. I think that's what the flag is.
Opportunity to make the catch. 5-yard penalty from the spot.
That's exactly what it is. 5-yard penalty is a halo invasion. Now remember, you cannot come within 2 yards of the return man. Let's see Garcia. Let's see how close. Inside the halo. Oh yeah, definite. That's a definite. That has to be called, and it was.
Yeah, Loudermilk looked like he hit him before he caught the ball.
Right. So anything after that is a moot point because Texas does retain possession of the football. Halo invasion.
Our college professor, Dave Lapham, handling Big 12 telecast all season, and he jumped right in on that college rule of the halo. What's he know about halo?
I'm no angel. I know that.
He's got the halo. He did the chop block.
No halo here.
So Major Applewhite will take things at quarterback to begin the second half, and a quick throw to Nunez on the far side of the field, shoved out of bounds by Orlando Green, but a good start for Applewhite, a gain of 8.
I think this is what Texas needs to do. And I know Mac Brown said, well, we want to block. And yeah, you have to block just long enough to give Major Applewhite time. But right now, Arkansas's cornerbacks are pretty much man-to-man on Texas's wide receivers. They need to get the ball out there if they're going to single them up.
And Texas's wide receivers have to step up and beat bump and run coverage. Get off the line of scrimmage.
But they haven't been bumping them, though. They've been playing off. Now here, this looks like this is going to be a bump right here. Right. But before, they were playing off.
They'll give it to Mitchell. He needed 2 for a first down and did not get there. Incidentally, we have an injury update on Sean Rogers, the outstanding junior defensive lineman out of LaPorte, Texas. He has a bruised right knee, and his return is likely, we are told. That's good news.
Yeah, he'll play. I mean, I think he planned this one if he dropped his knee off or his leg off after. He's going to be back to play.
That'd be real news.
Yeah, that's an offensive line. Defensive line, you need those legs.
Third down and less than a yard. And Applewhite gives it to Mitchell, and he's dropped behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh, that's a shame.
Late play made by Delancey Kemp, the senior out of Monroe, Louisiana. But he'll be penalized, it appears.
Boy, that's too bad. Again, really what this is Arkansas shifting and blitzing. Kent's a linebacker. They shift him around. Zan right upfield into the backfield.
Commercial foul.
The big thing is he grabbed it Griffin, and didn't let it go. The only mistake Kent made was before the tackle, he got up above the shoulder pads.
Right here. And the shame of this is that's a third down play.
Right, and it's a little self-destruction here because he reads it well, and that's a big-time problem there to grab the face mask and yank just Mitchell down on the turf like that. That's an injury to the neck potentially, and that's why it's like a 15-yard run. Now Arkansas only 1 penalty in the first half. Early in this half, penalty on the halo, penalty here on third down, shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
So first down for Texas at the Arkansas 35. Mitchell in motion and Applewhite. A quick toss to Jamel Thompson. That didn't fool the Razorback defense. And we were told by Matt Brown, this Razorback team extremely athletic, and they get to the football in a hurry.
Well, that's where you see the absence of Kwame Cavill, because that's Kwame Cavill's play. It's a screen pass to wide receiver, and that wide receiver's got to take that ball and break right upfield.
And that's what Kwame, at 6'2", 205 pounds, gets north and south in a hurry.
Yeah, watch this here. He's running this way. You got to get that thing upfield. You're running right into the teeth of those hogs.
Three receivers set. Mitchell the lone set back up top down the sideline. A great coverage by Orlando Green on Montrell
coverage by Orlando Green is Montrell Flowers has pure speed. He's a 10-1 in the 100-meter, and anytime you get a guy who's got pure speed, this is dangerous. Because you're up here, you're pressing him. Orlando doesn't even get a hand on him, but he runs with him step for step, and that's an excellent cover.
Well, he got in his hip pocket, and that's Flowers' weakness. He's getting off the line of scrimmage. He can run like a deer, but he doesn't get off the line of scrimmage. But
Orlando didn't even press him on how they did get off. He just ran on him.
Four receiver set, third down, Applewhite. Down he goes again. Four set. Chris Chalmers, the first man there.
The key right there, Arkansas all over everybody in coverage. Jamel Harris has got Hodges Mitchell out in the backfield. They have Major Applewhite taking all his reads to the right side. And he's making up, and he knows he's got Hodges Mitchell's covered. Even his check down, his dump off to the running back, it's blanket. Nowhere to go with the football.
This is great team defense by Arkansas. You see it, you can really feel the enthusiasm, and you see it in this blitzing defense. You know, we talked about, I thought Arkansas had an emotional edge. You know, Houston Nutt said to us, said, hey, Arkansas hasn't won a bowl game in 15 years. This game means a lot to these kids.
No doubt in Texas, their mentality is we're a rival to a lot of people, not just Arkansas. So we're kind of used to that. But Arkansas, they were at a fever pitch. They started this football game with fever pitch. This game means a heck of a lot to them. For recruiting purposes, you saw Arkansas raise the state of Texas as well. And they want to get as many quality athletes out of the state of Texas as they possibly can.
If you broke it down, you know, just on paper, tailor to tail. I think Texas has got the talent right. So I think that for Arkansas to win this game, and they're in it. I mean, it's 3-3, but I think for them to prevail, their defense is going to have to continue to make some good plays. And quick start.
Texas, their challenge was to match Arkansas's emotion level early in the football game. They struggled, then they get their feet on the ground a little bit, but now Arkansas has hung around enough where this is a plain old doctrine.
Remember what you said, Dave, right at the beginning of the game. You said that if Texas's offense doesn't get off to a fast start, they sometimes get frustrated.
They have a little bit today as well.
Ryan Long on to punt it away. Rossi Moriali standing back at his own 10. High punt by Long. It takes the Texas bounce. And it's down inside the 5. Maybe inside the 2, depending on where they spot it. Right at the 2-yard line. Terrific punt by Ryan Long. So the Razorbacks start deep in their own territory. 3-3 game at the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl. 3 game. Let's go back downstairs to Mike Ducey.
All right, Tom, thank you. I'm standing by here with Cliff Eason, president of SBC Network Services. What a great week filled with tradition this has been, and a beautiful way to end it today. You have to be thrilled.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Mike. And we so appreciate what you folks at Fox have done to help convey that sense of excitement and tradition going on here at the Cotton Bowl. You know, SBC and Southwestern Bell have been serving the residents of Texas and Arkansas for 120 years. So what a great way to begin a new millennium by rekindling this age-old rivalry here in Dallas.
Although you started out serving Texas and Arkansas, I know SBC has become a lot more than just a local phone company.
Well, that's right. We're coast to coast now with SBC Global Communications, operating in brands like Ameritech, Southwestern Bell, Pacific Bell, Southern New England, and SBC Global Networks. We're a full-service voice, data, video, and high-speed communications company, operating globally as well.
All right, Cliff Eason, president of SBC Network Services. Enjoy the game.
Thanks very much. Have a great one.
Tom, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mike. And nearly a safety. Sterner able to avoid being sacked in his own end zone.
Boy, Texas defense comes with everything they've got. Here comes Everett Wald and Burgess Hill on the blitz. Remember, we saw that play earlier. If you're going to blitz the cornerback, the defensive cornerback, the quarterback is never going to see. And Sterner's going to throw the football. Quick count here.
Play clock is down to 7. They get it off quickly. Is it a safety? Waiting for the official to give us a signal.
Man, we got out. This is a defense that smells blood. And I'll tell you what, Wycliffe Sterner didn't throw that football. He pump faked it and brought it down. Throw it away. Incomplete. Throw it to the receiver's feet.
Well, I got to say, it looked to me on the play before on Sterner like he was tackled in the end zone.
It did. Watch how Texas defense responds. I mean, look at that hit by Everett Rawls. He stops him, and then Greg Brown follows it up with DeAndre Lewis.
And I thought that was close to being a safety as well. I
fake. Now Sterner, the long ball, has a man open, and it's caught all the way out to midfield is Anthony and Lucas. How about that turn of events?
Double move there. Lucas with the double move, and the ball is delivered accurately by Sterner.
Nearly dropped in your own end zone, and then a 47-yard hit.
This is what I've been asking Arkansas to do all game long. Give the pump fake, throw the fade to your talented wide receiver, Anthony Lucas. Beautiful play.
And watch Hill jump on the first move. Once he jumped on that first move, he could not get the motor started as quickly as Lucas, and that was over.
Who wouldn't jump on the first move? You got them pinned down on their own end zone.
Gutsy call and nice execution of that gutsy call.
Great throw by Sterner.
Yeah.
So now first down. And they give it to Chapuma. He's dropped for a yard or two lost. First man there, Edward Rawls, a host of others for Texas. Sterner started the game 4 out of 12 for 34 yards. He's hit 4 of his last 4 for 96 yards.
And you know what? Let him roll. I mean, let that guy roll. He's hot right now. He's connecting with his receivers downfield. They're getting behind the Texas defensive backs. I think he's got to keep going with it.
And in Texas's defense, you have to respond now. Could have been back-to-back safeties. Wasn't called, and then the big play.
Play fake, rolling right, and the catch is made on the near side by Emmanuel Smith. And he's close to another Arkansas first down.
And Sterner is on a roll right now. He runs the bootleg play. When you run the bootleg, you expect to be out there in free space. But watch this Texas defense come on the corner. Look at the pressure Clint Sterner is under. He still throws a perfect ball.
He throws the ball on the run very, very well. Nice mechanics. And he just got that ball out there. Very catchable football.
Yeah, I mean, Smith didn't have to stop to catch it. He just caught it in stride and kept going for the first down. Hey, keep that thing in the air.
Things are heating up a little bit for the first time today. Through the yards, 5 quarters, 59 on this drive alone for Arkansas. And they give it to Cobb. And the running game is not there right now.
And you can see the Texas defense shift to the tight end. At the last second, the Texas defense all shifted over. They know if it's a running play that Arkansas wants to run to that tight end against their 8 in the box.
They did it on the play before on the bootleg by Sterner. This time they got set later.
They're all going the way of the play. And there's the 2 big defensive tackles. Sean Rogers back out there, Casey Hampton. They shut that run down.
They slanted right to the tight end to strengthen the formation. Sean Rogers a little hitchy with the other line. Got a little bit of a limp, but he's not going to miss these snaps.
They're going to have to hurry this play. Play clock under 4. On a second down at 12, and they just do get it off. Play action, Sterner across the middle, and the pass is caught. Close to another first down to Eric Grant.
He has really come to life. But Cedric Cobbs, I want to just point this out to you. Watch Cedric Cobbs on the blitz pickup here. We're going to pick up. There it is. Takes the big handoff. He gives Sterner the time he needs. Again, Sterner will flip the ball.
And that's fullback. That's a fullback in the widest point of the formation, motioning him out of the backfield to spread the field with regular personnel.
3rd and a yard. And Arkansas picks up the first down to the 30-yard line.
See, the run game is going to open up for you if you continue to threaten with the pass.
That's an age-old argument. One set up the pass, and the pass game set up the run. I think it's a glove with the hand. You can't have one without the other. I don't care. You're loading the box up. You're going to have to throw it to loosen the punt.
Well, you got to go to your strength. And Arkansas' strength is Sterner right now throwing the ball out to those wide receivers, and then you use that, you use your strength to set up the run. A little trail right here.
Play fake, Sterner steps out of trouble.
Wow.
To a wide open receiver. It's Cobb towards the end zone. Touchdown!
When he avoids Babers and he avoids another pressure, that's an individual play by a quarterback that just got it going.
And a great job by Cobbs punching it in over those last couple of yards.
Dotson for the point after our first touchdown of the game. 30-yard long catch. Turner to Cobbs. And how about that drive by Cliff Turner? The Razorbacks recapture the lead. 5:44 to go in the third quarter. 3, Arkansas in front. The touchdown throw by Sterner to Cedric Cobbs, capping a 97-yard scoring drive.
But Sterner was brilliant on this entire drive. 5 for 5, perfect 5 for 5, 97 yards. And Dave, a couple times, he looked like he was going to get sacked.
And Jim, he did it not only with his throwing arm, but with his feet. A little escapability, a little mobility in the pocket, keep himself alive big time.
How about that Anthony Lucas play? The fade route when they're backed up to their own end zone. Gutsy call by Houston Nutt.
You're right. Taken down at the 25-yard line by Kenoy Kennedy. So the All-American safety also getting it done on special teams. Texas will try and answer when we return to Dallas. Tomorrow on the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, Terry Bradshaw recognizes the year's most dubious achievements from around the NFL. Don't miss the Terry Awards tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
And if you haven't seen Terry Bradshaw and these 4 guys on our pregame show in the NFL, you have got to check them out. They are funny, and they are smart, they know their football, and they have a great time.
Well, see, our Cincinnati guys, though, being from Cincinnati, we stick with our guy Collins. Oh, he's the underdog in that.
I'm telling you, sometimes the pregame show is more entertaining than the game. You've got to tune in.
I love it. Collins was brilliant, too.
Applewhite, first down, throw, and catch to Bo State. First time we've heard from him today. The freshman All-American tight end coming off knee surgery. And Dave, you said at the outset you thought this guy might have a chance to make some plays.
Yeah, Bo State was an All-American tight end out of Colorado, and he can stretch the football field. He can run. Now, he is rehabilitating still from knee surgery, but they've flexed him a little bit, and they get him in the open field. I think they're going to have to spread the football field with him. Base personnel, so Arkansas can't substitute and get matched on this thing.
They have 21 on the throw to Steen. And Applewhite will throw on first down. Fires. Nunez is there to the 35. So all of a sudden, the dormant Longhorn offense, back-to-back big plays to State and now Nunez.
I don't like what Arkansas' defense is doing because you saw that they came out in the second half and they were hungry and they were blitzing and they were coming after Major Applewhite. And now it looks like a parlor game out there. Applewhite sitting back there just with no harassment whatsoever. Dave, you said at the beginning, Applewhite has high football IQ. You let him sit, he will pick you apart.
He knows where to go, when, where, and how to throw it, I'm telling you.
Here it comes. They're coming after him, but he still has time, and the catch is made by Thompson inside the 20 to the 17. Here comes the Longhorns.
I think we need to credit both coaching staff, both offensive coordinators with halftime adjustments. Sometimes they're subtle, sometimes they're not so subtle. But they're continuing to move Major Applewhite, change the launch point, get him away from some of the pressure, roll away from the backside pressure, deliver the football in the tiny time.
I see Major Applewhite. Sometimes he looks like Span, sometimes he looks like a T-bone step. But right now he's playing like a T-bone step.
You know what he looks like all the time with Morning Paperboy? He looks like he's 11 years old. I mean, but I'll tell you, he's got the heart of an assassin.
Throw, and he had a wide open receiver, but under heavy pressure that time was Applewhite. Thompson open in the end zone.
And Sasha Lancaster comes right up the pipe. And again, this is what Arkansas's defense needs to get back to. They've got to pound Major Applewhite. They can't let him set back. He is so smart. I mean, the guy who wakes up in the morning with film on, who falls asleep in bed at night with more film.
He can tell you what Sasha used for toothpaste this morning. Sasha kissed him on that one, boy. That was a good shot.
Applewhite hit on 3 straight for 21, 17, and 18 before that incompletion. Applewhite, a short drop, throws, Nunez, and catch inside the 15 to the 13. It'll bring up a big third down for the Longhorns, who were trying to answer the touchdown pass from Sterner to Cobbs a moment ago.
Football game, Arkansas backed up. Looks like the Texas defense has got two safeties in a row. First with Sterner, then with a run, and then on third down, this gutsy play, a pump fake, a throw downfield to Anthony Lucas. Sterner 5 for 5 on this drive, capping it with this touchdown pass to Cobb, and watch Cobb barrel in for the touchdown.
Now, Kim, on the safety, it's just like a touchdown. The ball has to cross the goal line, not the helmet, not anything else. On both of those, it was really, really questionable whether the ball came out of the end zone and crossed and hit that goal line.
And as you said, in the NFL, that would be a replayable play, but not in college.
Stockton moves it away. It'll be Cobbs at the 7-yard line, coming back to the other side of the field, and slowing him down initially, and then finally finishing him off. The Texas Longhorns special team, led by number 17, Joe Walker. We have a moment, our game summary brought to you by Zena. Boys, we've got a ball game all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. It started out, it was a big defensive game. All of a sudden, the offenses were starting to explode. Arkansas, with their touchdown drive, spent Texas, their offense, when they draft point, they responded, driving all the way down to the 1. They're only coming up with a field goal.
When you look at Arkansas's defensive football team, you think the big hogs of Texas offensive line averaging about 3 1/4. They're at the 1-yard line. They can't move Arkansas to understand. That's a huge goal line stand by the Hogs.
Well, they did it with penetration and great tackles.
Quickness.
Down, free play for Sterner, and why not? He's going to fly it to Lucas. It's intercepted by Lee Jackson, but this one figures to be against the long ball.
Yeah, he had Redding on the road. Right. Redding jumped outside, so this is the quarterback not watching football.
He knew it, and Sterner knows it, because if it's an offensive penalty, if it's the offense offsides, then the whistle blows and the play stops.
Right.
I think Sterner saw the flag go. I think he saw Corey Redding jump.
Yeah, Redding, and you got Hampton jumping too, but he didn't stay on the
Now that play has let the Texas defensive backs know that Clint Sterner ain't finished. He's 5 for 5 of his last 5 with a touchdown, and he's coming at you through the air, boys.
Things have obviously picked up for both teams offensively. Arkansas with 32 seconds left in the third quarter, a 10-6 lead.
Halftime adjustment, boys.
There's the give to Chakuma. Big hole, and he's out to the 32. Chakuma playing in his final game as an Arkansas Razorback, and he wants to go out with a full win.
Texas defense adjusting to the pass. They put 3 defenders out here and watch them slide this safety so they can get double coverage on both wide receivers. They vacate the run right in here, and Chakuma takes advantage of it.
Let's take a look at the shot Chakuma takes. You want to play running back? You lower your shoulder and go. You take the shot. That's a jacuzzi deal. You're in the whirlpool.
You take that anytime you get a first down, though. Yeah, absolutely.
There are a lot of people in the jacuzzi right now trying to rehab from last night. These guys want to be in the jacuzzi after the game for Arkansas, celebrating their first bowl victory in 15 years. 1 quarter left to go from the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl. Arkansas 10, Texas 6.
Fox Sports coverage of the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. By Original Coors, expect more from an original Coors. By Sun Microsystems, we're the dot in .com. And by Southwestern Bell, a member of the SBC Global Network.
Sterner to throw, wide open is Eric Grant, and he has another Arkansas first down to the 44.
Nice little pick went on right there, Emmanuel Smith. And it's not something that's illegal. He runs the route to the inside, and he creates space for his teammate. The protection holds up. Nice little blitz pickup. That's a defensive end. Him is taken down. Woodard. And he cuts him right at the knees, but Lucas is wide open. And the route run by Emmanuel Smith, creating space for him on the perimeter. Little crossing action.
Total yards, and Arkansas completely dominated the Longhorns, although just a 4-point lead. They give it to Cobbs. He spins away from a tackler and brings it close to midfield. A gain of nearly 5, close to 6, picked up by Cedric Woodard.
You know, the thing that Houston Nutt said, Tim, about Cobbs that impressed me, tremendous amount of natural talent. Obviously, he said he's humble, he's coachable. And I'll tell you, we talked about it before. This man, Houston Nutt and Matt Brown, if I'm a parent, those guys are sitting in my face, my son. I feel real good about them helping my boy become a man.
I love the way they've instilled this sense of family into both of these programs.
Little delay, and Cobbs able to pick up a yard after what looked like would be close to nothing. Well, you know, you talk about Houston Nutt, you talk about a guy who could easily sell his program. His father took him to Arkansas games. He grew up in Little Rock, went to Central High School, and attended Razorback games at 5 years old.
What I love what he did, though, is that everyone used to run after practice was over, workout. He set up a basketball hoop
coaches and players, got some pizzas. He said, heck, after workouts now, everybody's hanging around. It's like one big family.
He has the talent to have people rally around him, and that is a big-time talent.
3rd and 3 out of the eye. They'll give it to Cobbs, and he'll get another Arkansas first down inside of the Texas 45.
This is great running by Cobbs because he runs right into a run blitz. Texas defense, they're going to come from the top of the screen here. Full board. Cobb cuts it back. See all those defenders coming, linebackers, safeties. Cobb runs right smack dab into it for the first down.
And that's more than once that he's running reverse. And turn those legs, those high knees, and get those legs moving. He is legit.
Yeah, and Houston Nutt said he can do it. He has the talent to be anything he wants to be.
First down after the gain of 7, and Sterner wants it all, throwing to the corner of the end zone, in and out of the hands of Lucas. Terrific coverage down there by Ahmad Brooks.
You know what it was? It was terrific recovery by Ahmad Brooks. Because Lucas had him beat. Lucas had separation. Sterner sees that it's a one-on-one situation. See, there's separation. Look at him recover. Ahmad Brooks had great acceleration and recovery.
And he did. The other thing he did so well, watch him get his head turned around at the appropriate time to make a play on the football. He's reading Lucas's eyes, and he turned, find the ball, make a play on the ball. That's excellent.
You know, I got to tell you, this pass interference.
Got that right arm in there.
He chopped that arm down. That pass interference.
And that was the reaction you heard by the crowd after they saw it on the replay board. And the give is on the inside to Michael Jenkins, and he could go to the 10.
Against the blitz, that got him going.
Watson tries to make it 17-6 with a point after. And done. Michael Jenkins had not touched the football the entire game until now.
Look at Branch's blitz pickup. And then off to the races, make him miss. Excellent block, excellent run, touchdown. Barrel blitz by the inside linebackers. Linemen take one, fullback takes the other. Eric Branch, nice little pickup.
And then watch the run right through the defensive backs.
That's Jenkins' first carry of the day, isn't it?
He's touched it all day long, and they're making the most of it.
That's nice yards per carry.
Well, he averaged nearly 7 yards a carry during the season, and many wondered why they wouldn't give him the football any more frequently.
The great thing about it is, first he gets great blocking, and then he gets to show what he can do by running through 2 tackles.
Texas has had no running game whatsoever here today. In fact, they have a grand total of -5 rushing yards thus far. They had a total of 6 rushing yards in their last game against Nebraska, the lowest rushing yards in a game in Texas history. Tomorrow, the final Sunday of the NFL regular season. Certainly postseason hopes on the line. The Lions taking on the Vikings, or the Giants against the Cowboys. Coverage begins noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Who do you think gets in tomorrow, Tim? Dallas?
I don't. I think Dallas beats the Giants. Dallas has been great at home all year. I think they beat the Giants and they go into the playoffs.
He goes out lost. 2 8-8 teams going to make the playoffs. That's parity big time there.
First down, and the Longhorns in a hole. Scaife, the catch and the throw from Applewhite out of bounds in the 37.
Now this is the same completion that Applewhite had to Scaife earlier in the game, and they need to keep doing this. Texas needs to keep this passing game going. Applewhite again sits back here, nice pocket, nice protection, and there's Scaife.
Run a little corner out, and basically he's as good as a wide receiver. They're going to pass up the line.
Look at the separation he got from Quentin Faber. He had about 4-yard separation. Texas was doing to Clint Sterner earlier in the game. They bring Orlando Green off the corner all the way from the edge, and they replace him with a safety in the coverage. Watch him come here. Here he's going to come. He makes it look like it's man-to-man coverage, and then he comes on the blitz. See it there? And no one blocks it.
Hodges Mitchell goes to the inside.
Well, that's his rule. Exactly. I've said it 3 times today. When the cornerback comes on the blitz,
the quarterback's man.
He's the quarterback's man. He's got to get rid of that ball.
You're right.
Second down and 20. Applewhite a short drop. And he has to escape trouble. And can't escape it anymore.
He looks like he got hurt as he went down. He kind of felt funny on that leg. He's grabbing his left knee. And he's not doing well. He's in pain right now. That's not his game. Running around trying to make plays.
Official timeout as Sims cranks it up in a hurry over on the Texas sideline.
This is not Major Applewhite. He's not a guy that creates and is excellent out of pocket. And as he plants that left leg, it just kind of collapses on him a little bit as he's trying to escape.
You know, guys, this is a huge story, of course, with all the Texas fans and the Texas media. The Major Applewhite, Chris Sims story. Applewhite has done nothing but win. But it seems like, Tim and Dave, nobody's rooting for the guy. It's always, the grass is always greener. They want Sims in there right now. But this kid deserves an unbelievable amount of credit talking about Major Applewhite.
He was a Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. He's a winner. He's a guy who, Dave said it from the beginning, a high football IQ, and what he has is all the intangibles. And I can understand the adoration of Chris Sims. First of all, he's a great kid. He's a smart kid. His father is just one of the greatest football players ever to play the game. And then he's got all the physical talents. He's tall. He's strong. He's got a great arm. He's got a quick release. However, you go back to what you said, and I agree with you, Tom. Major Applewhite has done a fantastic job for this football team.
Well, it's interesting, guys. The way it's taking place here with Arkansas's defense, Sims is more adaptable. This is his game. He doesn't like it out of pocket, but he's more mobile out of pocket than Major Applewhite. But he does not have the mind for the offense yet that Major Applewhite has. I mean, Chris Sims can be fooled a little bit with some disguised looks.
Well, they give Applewhite a big round of applause that he heads to the sideline. It's interesting, competitors on the field, absolutely, Major Applewhite and Chris Sims. Away from the field, they room together when Texas travels on the road. And we asked Major Applewhite yesterday about his relationship with a man trying to take his job.
We laugh and joke about that because no matter what's said, we could be each other's best man in each other's wedding, and the media would somehow twist it and turn it to make it something evil, and it's not.
And we said it earlier, you guys said it earlier. Big play coming up. You'd want your daughter to marry 2 kids like Major Applewhite or Chris Sims.
Can't say enough good things about either one.
They want to take our kids to the senior prom, bring it on.
3rd and 30, and Sims is dropped. This has been a relentless Arkansas defense today. Mac Brown said we haven't blocked anybody all day long, and that still rings true.
That's DJ Cooper again. We have seen him harass Texas quarterbacks all day long. Little stunt to the inside. There's Cooper right there. This is the 7th sack from the Arkansas defense so far today.
Difference there, offensive line speed stopped. Cooper's speed kept going 90,000 miles an hour.
Out of his own end zone, Long puts a foot on the football, and Moriali at the 45. They're going to get great field position again, and this drive will start at the Texas 37. With Williams on the tackle.
Well, that's a short field to negotiate.
You think the Razorbacks want their first bowl win in 15 years? You tell me. Pretty hard.
When we played at Arkansas, getting there and arriving was getting to go play in the Cotton Bowl. And when we walked out on the field for that Cotton Bowl, Dallas, Texas, in front of a national audience, and knew that somehow, some way, we've got to beat a team like Nebraska that we respected. It was a memory that stuck with me all my life.
Looking to beat up Nebraska, and now their young fans Houston Nutt has revitalized his Razorback program. Cobbs breaks it to the outside, and he could go. The 15, the 10, the 5, touchdown, Cedric Cobbs.
What a left arm, stiff arm. And then the speed was amazing. These stiff arm Brooks in the seal. Cedric Cobbs draws the defense into the center of the field before he bounces it outside. Look at this. Commitment, change of direction, and there's your thing, Dave.
Oh, unbelievable. Good left arm, stiff arm.
Puts him to the ground.
He crumbled him. He folded him like a chair.
But then look at that speed. I mean, he showed incredible speed down the sideline to outrun the entire Texas defense.
Jones lost position. When Cobbs set him up and bounced him, Jones lost his outside shoulder. Brooks couldn't make the play. Cobbs shucks him like an ear of corn, and it's down the sideline he goes. He absolutely blew up the pursuit angle. It was not even, and there's Major Applewhite, obviously with a knee problem, exiting the football field and emotional about it.
Well, we certainly hope that all will be well with Major Applewhite. A first-class young man.
I'll tell you, Tim, does he have coach written all over him when he's done playing? I mean, he conducts a clinic. Having an interview with him in a production meeting, it's amazing. Amazing.
10:19 to go, and Texas in a world of hurt. Allen boomed out of the end zone. While we have a moment, let's go downstairs to our man on the sideline, Mike Ducey.
Tom, obviously this Texas sideline is deflated now after the loss of Major Applewhite. The trainers aren't saying much about the injury. They don't know a lot about it yet. Obviously, you saw just a moment ago, he was carted off the field. It's a left knee problem. They'll do tests and find out just how serious it is, but quite obviously Major Applewhite is through for the day. Tom?
And Tim, you know, non-contact. And a lot of those knee injuries are just catching the cleats.
Often.
Right, non-contact injury.
Well, now they're going to be licking their chops to come after Chris Sims. Although they don't blitz on first down, and sends a bullet in there to Ryan Nunez.
I think, Tom, that in Arkansas, again, they really, really wanted this year. Haven't had a bowl win 15 years. Houston Nutt was passionate about how badly his team wanted this. And so I think you don't want to necessarily go after Sims now. If you want to drop back, just don't give up the big play. They got this game under control. They don't want to give up the deep pass.
And once again, quick comment on Major Applewhite's injury. Natural grass, non-contact. You don't see all that often on grass the cleats locking up like that.
Second and 1, and they hand it off to Hodges Mitchell. He's trying to get Texas back to ground zero in their rushing game today. Before that carry, -5 yards rushing in the game thus far.
Of course, quarterback sacks in college come off of the rushing total. The NFL comes off the passing yards. But once again, it doesn't matter what category you put it in. Bottom line is Arkansas is winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. They're pushing it back. A lot of negative plays, a lot of tackle for loss.
Houston Nutt counting down the time to a Cotton Bowl win. Sims to throw it on first down, and he just rolls it away.
This is a timing pass right to the post, and what Chris Sims didn't see was the press coverage that Harris has got on his best receiver, Ryan Nunez. Watch this this here. Watch this job right here. So Harris gets the jam, and then he actually gets over the top of him again. And so that play has absolutely no chance of working because of Harris's press.
Tough deal for a freshman quarterback, down 18 in the Cotton Bowl with not much playing experience.
And not your best wide receiver.
Yeah.
Kwame Cavill out of the gate.
No doubt.
Sims under heavy pressure, the 8th sack of the game by the Arkansas defense.
Covered sack once again. Nowhere to go with the pigskin.
Harold Harris for the sack.
You're seeing quarterback go to the last step of this drop, and cock the football to throw it, and you have to take it back down.
Yeah, well, this is a great job by the secondary. Here's the coverage here and here and here. There's no place to throw. And so that's going to happen to Chris Sims.
And the thing is, with all those people in coverage, 4 rushers got that kind of pressure on the quarterback.
The Razorbacks front has done a spectacular job of pressuring the quarterback today.
Quickness is beating size. You know what? I think the center forgot the snap count. A bunch of people moved, and he never moved the football. You can't even. Sims is talking to the center about it. You know, you can't. 2 guys that can't forget the snap count of the quarterback.
Prior to the snap, both sides, offense, 5-yard penalty, leaves 3rd down.
Look at how many guys moved, though. And Matt Anderson's holding on to the football. I really believe that he brain planned.
The 8 sacks, the most sacks in a game this season by the Arkansas Razorbacks, and we still have 8 minutes to go, and you figure that Texas basically has to throw each and every down to try and get back in. Third and 22. Sims flushed out of the pocket, looking downfield, and nobody's open. And he's tackled by Jamel Harris at the 28.
We call Jamel Harris the heart and soul of this defense, and if he is, that heart is pumping hard and fast.
There's no doubt about it. Look at Phil Sims out on the edge. Chris Sims, boy, Phil, I'm loving you today. But Chris Sims out on the edge, nowhere to go with the football, nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide because the hogs are everywhere.
Imagine Chris Sims is a little used to getting called Phil Sims, don't you?
I would think, yes.
Corey Alley waiting back at his own 35 off the side of the foot of Long. And that ball will roll out of bounds at the Texas 47-yard line. And right there, by and large, is how the day has gone for the Longhorns in this Cotton Bowl. 7:01 to play, all Razorback. Fox crew, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome back to the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl. And it's been all Arkansas today, guys. It looked like, and we all believe coming in, that they wanted this game more.
Well, it started out a tight race, but yeah, we talked about the enthusiasm. Arkansas had it from the get-go, and Phil paid off.
It really did, Tim, and it seems like this game was more important to Arkansas than the game was to Texas, and I think the play has shown it.
Well, I think they, we talked also about, Tommy talked about players for Texas. There were 4 that were suspended. 2 of them key players, Aaron Humphrey on the defensive end, and then Kwame Cavill, their top wide receiver. And without those 2 guys, either Texas was going to rally, be enthused, and try to make up for it, or they were going to come out flat.
Another injury in midfield, Corey Redding trying to make his way up on his own 2 feet. Working his way to the sideline, but you know what? You can tell, guys, that Texas is deflated right now because as well as both defenses tackled in the football game here recently, Texas can't tackle a lick. I think their emotion is gone. They're spent a little bit.
Well, I go back to when the Arkansas offense had their back to their own end zone. They're playing out of their own end zone. Yep. It's 3rd down, and Clint Sterner comes up with a huge pass play to Anthony Lucas.
Jenkins, a 26-yard carry. He's averaging better than 39 yards per touch. That'll come down a little here as he stripped up down to the 15-yard line. Houston Nutt, we have talked about him, and growing up in Little Rock, Arkansas, attending Central High School, was the final letter of intent signed by a player under then legendary coach Frank Broyle. Came into Arkansas, elected to transfer and move on to Oklahoma State. He is the son of Houston Sr. and Emma Jean. His parents spent 35 years teaching at the Little Rock School for the Deaf. His father served as the AD and the basketball coach, his mother an English teacher, and so he's learned about family ever since day one. And now instilling that into this Arkansas team and program.
The thing that I loved was we asked Anthony Lucas, their wide receiver, what happened when Houston Nutt came to Arkansas. He said he put life back in the uniform. He said he made it fun. The first thing Houston Nutt walks into a meeting, he said all the black guys were on one side of the room, all the white guys were on the other. And he said, Houston Nutt said, no, that ain't the way it's going, guys. Mix it up, and you know, Anthony Lucas said, hey, that touched us all.
Yeah, and Houston Nutt said, hey, when you hurt, we all hurt. This is a family, and that's what it's all about.
He's on his way to giving these Razorback fans their first bowl victory since 1985 as Jenkins picks up the first down inside the Texas 10, and it's 1st and goal.
You know, this is a coaching family. Houston Nutt's brother is on this coaching staff. He coaches running backs. His father, as you described, he coaches well, Tom. He's got a brother that's the head basketball coach at Central Arkansas. And this family has just evolved around athletics, and it's quite a family indeed.
Well, you mentioned his brother, the running backs coach, Danny Nutt. He missed the bowl game a year ago. Very serious brain surgery.
At the stem of his brain, yes.
And they were wondering, quite honestly, if he would ever coach another football game as Jenkins is tackled down inside the 7. And we asked his brother, Houston Nutt, about that experience and then coming into this 99 season.
Okay, the players, if y'all don't mind, I'd like to go back to a bowl. I missed a good bowl last year. Will you take me back to a bowl? They all said they would, and they did. And it's wonderful to look down there and see him down there with the running backs. That smile on his face. He's enjoyed every minute of it, and it's taught our players every day's a gift.
Sterner for the end zone, and it's batted away.
Well, Ahmad Brooks, he really has done a nice job today on certain coverages. That's been his job most of the day. We've seen him. You know, Lucas had the one big play out of the end zone, but otherwise, I think Ahmad Brooks has stepped up pretty admirably a lot of times today with man-to-man single coverage.
Exactly. Carl Reese, the defensive coordinator, said, hey, they've been picking on Brooks. I'll admit it. Texas A&M picked on him today. He said, he's been challenged. We're going to give him some help, but sometimes he's going to get the press coverage and just respond. He has stepped up to play.
And really, I think on the one big pass that Anthony Lucas had, I think Urbasil actually had the coverage.
Yeah, he'd been on the double move.
Arkansas spending a timeout. 3rd down and goal from the 7. Arkansas leading 24-6. Arkansas eating up Texas 24-6 in our Southwestern Bell game summary.
You see this Arkansas defense with 8 sacks. They knocked Applewhite out of the game. That really is what started it. And then Sterner, his numbers don't look as impressive as they were because he started out 6 for 15 with 2 interceptions. But after that, he ended up went on a 5-for-5, 98-yard touchdown drive with a touchdown pass.
Inside handoff and being wrapped up at the 5-yard line. The ball came loose, or did it? Apparently the ball blown down at the 5-yard line.
You know, Sterner, the thing about Sterner's touchdown pass to Cobbs that finalized that long drive, that 97-yard drive, it was all him. And, you know, Cobbs had the easy part, catch these wide open and finish. But Sterner avoided 2 guys, 2 potential sacks in the backfield, and then got rid of the football in a very timely fashion. So, I mean, it was all him on that particular play. He stepped up and has made some plays for his football.
Tim Green making his way down onto the field. He'll be leaving the broadcast booth, being part of the trophy presentation. To follow this one, and right now, Dave Lapham, it looks like Houston Nutt will be receiving that Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl trophy.
And really well-deserved. I mean, he got his football team was in pads, working hard right away. They didn't finish well against LSU. Wanted to wash that taste out of his mouth and win a bowl game. Looks like they're going to get that done.
Delay of game penalty is called against Arkansas. They let the clock run down to 2:51. There you get a look at the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl trophy.
That's nice.
I know you played in a Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals against the San Francisco 49ers in Detroit. You ever played a bowl game?
No, we never did play in a bowl game. Came close a couple of times, but there's a lot more bowl games these days than I played with no face mask and leather helmets.
Okay, it shows. 28-yard attempt now by Tony Dotson. And the kick is smacked down through the upright. 27-6 Arkansas. That trophy is headed back into the band. 27-6 Arkansas in front of Texas here at the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl. Well, if you'd like to win a trip to the Cotton Bowl in 2001, here's your chance. Log on to foxsports.com right now and answer this question. Which team has appeared in the most Cotton Bowl classics? Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Arkansas, or Texas? Log on to foxsports.com.
A little emotion on that Arkansas sideline.
Brother to brother.
Yep, little brother to brother. Danny Nutt blinking back tears, and not tears, not sorrow, sheer, unadulterated joy.
2 minutes and 46 seconds remain in this one. And again, booting it out of the end zone is Tony Dotson. Let's go back to that moment. Brother to brother on the sideline.
All I can say to that, Tommy, is Mr. and Mrs. Nutt, your legacy lives on. And that puts a lump in the throat right there. And, all those parents, all your kids are your legacy. And that family has a legacy that lives rightly.
Well, you heard his older brother Houston talk about learning the value and the joy of every day of your life. Having joy and loose and a big hit from Jeremy Flowers on Jamel Thompson, but Andy Nutt almost lost his life. Didn't like to talk much about it. In fact, they don't even write about it in the Arkansas media guide. Exactly what he went through last year. He'd rather people talk about the players and his team, what they're trying to accomplish. But you're standing on that sideline, and maybe you reflect back to where you were this day a year ago. It's no wonder their team.
A true competitor, in every sense of the word, and class act, to say the very least, and a rallying point for this football team.
And I'm sure a lot of those tears of joy are also for his brother.
Sure. You know, there's nothing like family. We talk about how both of these coaches try to instill that in their football team. They don't just talk the talk. They walk the walk. I mean, their families of utmost importance to both of them. And they live a great example. And they're role models for their football team in so many ways. That's why, in my mind, my kids being recruited by Arkansas, you hope your son becomes a man. And these guys will definitely help your son become a man.
Same holds true. We don't need to be just talking about Houston Nutt and what's taking place with his brother. We said Matt Brown. There's a reason why Matt Brown is coming to Texas and brought back so much tradition in this program. And all the former players are coming back where they really weren't all that welcomed in years past.
Right.
And they're going out and recruiting some big-time players again.
All the qualities that you want your son to emulate is being done by these coaches.
2:18 to go, and Sims throws a strike to Montrell Flowers. Can't get out of bounds, or does he? The clock will stop with 2:10 left to play.
Well, this pretty much tells the story of the day right here. Major Applewhite, Chris Sims, never comfortable in the pocket. Some incredible numbers. Knocked down 13 times. Sacked 8. Hit 16 times. I mean, they're in game. Major Applewhite, unfortunately, in game. But they could never, ever get set in the pocket and deliver the ball on time. Arkansas had Texas's passing game, the Texas offensive football team, and most importantly, Texas's huge offensive line off balance all day long. In this football game, quickness and speed beat size and strength.
Well, Arkansas defensively only had 31 sacks as a team the
late today.
Yep.
And Nebraska did the same type of thing. I'm sure Arkansas looked at the Nebraska game film in that Big 12 championship game and said, we're coming after him as well.
Texas will end the season on a 3-game slide with losses to A&M, Nebraska in the Big 12 championship game, and now here to Arkansas. That was nearly intercepted by Cable. He wrapped his hands around that football. It would have been 6 more.
Yeah, he saw a golden goalpost, but the first thing he had to do is secure the bad boy and then go to the house. But Arkansas, I felt all week long, Tom, Texas in Dallas, obviously all the attention is being heaped upon them. I think Arkansas felt a little slighted all week long, and I think it was a rallying point for them in this football game.
I think you're right. We could tell right from the get-go. Yep. A lot more emotion from their side and their fans. Sims throws to Thompson, and he's tackled at midfield. Clock will stop with 1:57 on 55.
And one more time about Kwame Cavill and Aaron Humphrey. I had the privilege of watching both those guys play. I'm so sorry for Aaron Humphrey. It's his senior year. Not playing this football game. 10 quarterback sacks. Quarterback pressures and tackles for us. That's taking really setting the chain. He might be able to play Kwame Cavill. It's very unfortunate. It hurt their football team. Mr. Nutt, the ball sucked in the shampoo is very low.
I don't think he's worried about either one.
No, he's not.
Sims a lot of time to throw, and he fires high to Thompson, who was wide open.
Sims, I think, a little excited. Too much mustard on that football. There's a guy that's excited. I'll tell you, you ever been doused, like, your heart rate accelerates. It's like, you ever jump in the ocean, that cold water, and it's like, now this is unexpected. The ocean's falling on your backside. It's like, whew, what was that way?
Take your breath away.
Oh, man, it'll tighten you up.
1:50 left. Sims is hit on 6 of 9 for 48 yards. We'll add to that total. Catches made by Flowers, and he's down to the 38-yard line.
The thing that's good for both of these franchises, here you have new defensive coordinator, Arkansas, Bobby Allen, and Houston Nutt again. Bobby Allen stepped in more than admirably for Keith Burns, who took the head coaching position in Tulsa, and they didn't miss a beat. I mean, he game planned magnificently against Texas in this football game.
Another throw and catch from Sims to Flowers, out of bounds at the 25. Yeah, we started to talk about Bobby Allen. Boy, does he deserve a huge amount of credit for this game.
He really does. I mean, he had an idea, he had a strategy, had a plan, never deviated. He really had to. It worked from the first snap. Pressure, Mac-Brown's offense with quickness and speed, and they did it.
How good was Allen's game plan and his players' execution? Texas minus 27 yards rushing. That's a Texas record, dubious record on that Allen. It's broken up. And it's also a new Cotton Bowl record for fewest rushing yards.
And those are the kind of records you like to be away from. You don't want your name in those, mentioned with those records in the record book. Obviously, you can see the agony of defeat right there. Early victory on the Arkansas sideline. And with each victory, there's a little disappointment on the other sideline.
It away. But Sims putting his hands up in the air saying what happened there with his wide receiver Jamel Thompson.
Well, you got these two seniors, the defensive leader and the offensive leader. Bobby Williams doing the job with the offensive line, and DJ Cooper, the big boy. Williams on the right, Cooper on the left. They are the bell cows of both lines of scrimmage, and they stepped up large today.
Speaking of large, how about Bobby Williams? That's a big man.
Hey, that takes some work now. You know, you get full, you fight through it. I've done it. You got to fight through it and keep going, and then you become bigger.
Sims connects again with Flowers inside the 10. Well, this game may be out of reach, and granted, not the same Arkansas defense as we saw earlier in the game. but Chris Sims has some zip on that fastball, doesn't he?
Well, you can see that the sky's the limit. I mean, his upside potential, I mean, I don't think the graph can go high enough. What he needs is snaps. What he needs is, his feet being exposed to the fire. And unfortunately, the second half, it occurred due to injury. They wanted to get in that first half to get exposed to the heat of the battle as well in a meaningful scenario.
Sims trying to get his team to the end zone for the first time today. In and out of the hands. A ball that should have been caught, it looked like, by Jamel Thompson.
Yeah, that's kind of a summation of the day. Jamel Thompson drops the football and Sims gets deposited into the turf. I mean, I can't really recall Texas quarterback upright very many times after the release of the football. And Arkansas dropped the wood today. They took it off the old shed.
All day long.
Yep.
Sims on second down to the end zone and a little too high for Thompson.
That's a tough throw for the left-handed quarterback rolling to his right. Chris Sims did a good job of getting his feet set, his shoulders squared to the line of scrimmage, and deliver the football accurately. The good news for Texas, as you look at some of these young men, they are back, and they're back for real. I mean, obviously a major disappointment today, but with the recruiting classes that Matt Brown has been able to put together back-to-back seasons, the future burns very brightly.
Third down and goal for the Longhorns. Sims throws too high for Nunez. Fourth down, they'll get one more crack at it.
It's funny, there's good news and bad news in these situations. For Matt Brown, the good news is they qualified for Cotton Bowl back-to-back years. Bad news is not able to generate the W. Last year they did. They won the Cotton Bowl. This year not getting it done. And you always like to win your last football game because you have a whole off season of memories of not getting that victory.
It'll be a very long off season for Bobby today.
Yes, it will. Absolutely.
Fourth down, Sims to the end zone, too high. Arkansas will take over.
Third run down. That's kind of the capsule of the game there as well. The defense one more time. Pulls their nets and gets it done. Worked with Kwame Cavill, a double hit to him, a tragedy. His grandmother dies this week, very, very close to her. He saw his dad cry. One of the only times he can remember, and that upset him, big time. And then the bad news that violation of the NCAA rules, you're not able to play the football game. So you go one of two ways. You either crumble and fold, or you come back with more vim and vigor. And I think Kwame Cavill will hopefully learn from this. And he hit the century mark this year in receptions. Who knows next year?
27-6 Arkansas. And they're going to run out the clock here. Of course, you think Arkansas, one of the names, our very own Pat Summerall. How about that face?
Wow.
He kicked a 20-yard field goal just before halftime that made the difference in the Hogs' 16-14 win over number 4 Texas. The first win for the Hogs over Texas since 1938.
I love it. Conventional place kicker. Straight on. This is the best formation for an offensive lineman in all of football, the genuflect, Tom. You take the knee, you genuflect when the game's over. They can't do a thing about it. You're the winner.
This will be Arkansas's first bowl win since 1985, a victory at the Holiday Bowl over Arizona State. And Houston Nutt raised in triumph. The Arkansas Razorbacks' first Cotton Bowl win since 1976 when they beat the Georgia Bulldogs 31-10. What a great story. Houston Nutt and the Arkansas Razorbacks.
The old rally cry for the Hogs. Go Hogs, go. They certainly did. They went. They went from snap one to the final snap. They played this football game at a high level of intensity for its entire duration.
All over the state, Fayetteville, Little Rock, and all points in between and around. They're celebrating the first day in the year 2000.
That's absolutely right. The year starts, the new millennium is big for the Hogs.
And we'll be back with a trophy presentation right after this.